Hey there, welcome in. Go ahead and get yourself comfortable because you don't have to do anything else tonight. You made it. Whatever the day handed you, however heavy or scattered or long it felt, it's over now. And this little pocket of time belongs entirely to you. So let your shoulders drop. Let the weight of holding yourself upright all day just ease off. You can set it down here. Nobody needs anything from you right now. Take a slow breath in through your nose, if you'd like. Not a big dramatic one, just an easy one. And let it out gently, like a sigh you didn't know you were holding. There. That's the whole idea for tonight. Slow, soft, unhurried. We're not in a rush to get anywhere, you and I. We've got all the time in the world. My voice is going to be here with you the whole way through. And honestly, you don't need to follow along or remember a single thing. There's no quiz at the end. There's nothing to keep track of. If your mind drifts off somewhere in the middle of a sentence, that's perfectly fine. That's actually kind of the point. And if you fall asleep before I even get to the good part, well, that means it worked. And I'll count that as a quiet little victory for both of us. Before we settle in all the way, I want to say one small thing, and I'll keep it soft so it doesn't pull you out of this calm we're building. If these sleep stories help you drift off, if they've become part of how you wind down at night, it would mean the world if you'd tap the like button and maybe subscribe. It's a tiny thing on your end, just a gentle tap, but it helps this quiet little corner of the internet keep going, helps me keep doing what I love doing, which is helping folks like you get some real honest rest. One sleepy soul at a time. That's the whole mission, really. Just that. And now that that's out of the way, we can let it go and sink back into the stillness. So, tonight's theme. Tonight, we're going to wander gently through some of the most relaxing, most quietly wonderful facts about this planet we all live on. The Earth. This big, slow, spinning ball of rock and water and air that carries every one of us through the dark on its endless, patient journey around the sun. And I mean it when I say relaxing. There's not going to be any tension here. No dramatic build-ups, no cliffhangers. Just soft, soothing little truths about the world beneath your feet and the sky above your head. The kind of gentle facts that make you feel small in the best possible way. Cozy, small, held small. The way you might feel wrapped up in a blanket while a storm passes by outside, knowing you're warm and safe and exactly where you need to be. You know, there's something deeply calming about thinking of the Earth when you're lying in bed at night. Because while you're here, resting, doing absolutely nothing at all, the planet is doing all the work for you. It's turning, slowly, steadily. At this very moment, without you lifting a finger, the ground you're resting on is carrying you eastward at hundreds of kilometers an hour. And yet it feels like nothing. It feels like perfect stillness. That's how smooth the ride is. That's how gentle this old planet is with all of us. It's been doing this for about 4.5 billion years, turning and turning, and it has never once needed you to help. So tonight, you really can let go completely. The Earth's got it handled. It always has. Let that settle in for a moment. 4.5 billion years. It's a number so enormous, it stops meaning very much, doesn't it? Our little minds just aren't built to hold something that vast. But that's all right. You don't need to understand it. You just need to feel it, softly, in the background. The idea that this planet is ancient, unimaginably ancient, and it has seen every single sunrise and every single sunset that has ever happened, and it just keeps going. Calm, patient, turning through the dark. And here you are, one warm little heartbeat riding along on its surface, safe under the blankets, listening to a quiet voice in the night. There's something lovely about that, something that puts the whole day into perspective. Whatever felt so urgent this afternoon, the Earth doesn't know about it, and honestly, in a few billion years, it won't matter one bit. So you can let it go. Really, you can just let it go. Let me tell you a little about how we're going to spend our time together tonight. We're going to take things slowly, one gentle idea at a time. I'll tell you soft little stories about the oceans and the mountains and the sky, about the way the world breathes and moves and settles, about the quiet places on this planet that almost nobody ever gets to see. The deep parts of the sea where the water is still and dark and calm. The high, slow drift of the clouds. The way snow falls without a sound. And through all of it, my only job is to help your mind slow down, to give it something soft and pleasant to rest on, so it stops chewing over the day and finally lets you sleep. Because I know how it goes. You lie down, you're exhausted, you've been tired for hours, and then the moment your head hits the pillow, your brain decides now is the perfect time to replay every awkward thing you've ever said and every task you haven't finished yet. The mind is funny that way. It doesn't like empty space. So tonight, we're going to give it something to hold instead. Something calm. Something that asks nothing of it. Just a quiet voice and some gentle facts about the beautiful world you live in. And little by little, that busy part of your mind is going to get bored in the best possible way. And it's going to drift, and it's going to soften, and it's going to let you go. So let's make sure you're really comfortable. Take a moment, if you need to adjust. Fluff the pillow. Pull the blanket up to wherever feels right. Let your arms rest heavy at your sides, or wherever they want to be. If there's a bit of tension somewhere, maybe in your jaw, maybe in your forehead, maybe in your hands, just notice it, gently, and let it soften. You don't have to force anything. Just invite it to ease. Your body knows how to rest. It's been waiting all day for permission. So this is your permission. You can stop now. You've done enough. Feel the surface beneath you holding your weight. The mattress, the bed, and beneath that, the floor, and beneath that, the whole solid, patient body of the earth itself, holding you up the way it holds up everything. The oceans, the forests, the cities, the mountains. All of it resting on the same steady ground. You're part of that. You're held by the same thing that holds the seas in place. There's a kind of comfort in that, isn't there? You're not floating loose in the dark. You're cradled. You always have been. And here's a soft little thought to sink into as we begin. That sense of being held, of gravity keeping you gently pressed into your bed. That's the earth quietly hugging you. That's really what gravity is in a way. It's the planet pulling you close, keeping you from drifting away, keeping your feet on the ground and your body in your bed. It never lets go. Not for one single second of your entire life has the earth ever loosened its grip on you. Through everything, it has held on. So tonight, let it. Let yourself be held. Let yourself be heavy. Let yourself sink. The world outside is quiet now. Somewhere out there, on the far side of the planet, the sun is shining and people are going about their busy days. And that's all right. That's their turn. But here, on your side of the world, it's night. It's your turn to rest. Half the earth is always sleeping, always tucked into darkness, always turning slowly toward the dawn. And you're part of that great, quiet, sleeping half right now. Millions and millions of people all over your side of the world, lying down just like you, closing their eyes just like you, letting the day dissolve. You're not alone in this. All across the dark side of the planet, the world is winding down together. And you get to be part of that gentle, sleepy chorus tonight. I want you to imagine, just for a moment, that you could rise up softly and slowly and look down at the earth from far above. No effort, no fear, just a gentle floating, the way you might drift in warm water. And from up there, you'd see it. This blue and white marble glowing softly in the black. The ocean's a deep, calm blue. The clouds swirled across it in soft white ribbons. The land in gentle browns and greens, and along one edge, that slow curve of shadow where day melts into night. The very edge of the darkness you're resting in right now. It's said that the astronauts who've seen this with their own eyes come back changed. They say it's peaceful beyond words. They say all the borders and worries and arguments just disappear from up there. And all you can see is one quiet, beautiful, living world, turning softly in the dark. That's the world you're falling asleep on tonight. That's home. And it's such a gentle home, really, when you stop to notice. The way the tides rise and fall, slow and rhythmic, like the whole ocean is breathing. The way the seasons turn, one into the next, never rushing, always arriving right on time. The way the day fades into dusk and dusk into night in soft, unhurried layers of color. The earth doesn't do anything quickly. It has never once been in a hurry. And there's a lesson in that, if you want it. A soft reminder that you don't have to be in a hurry either. Not now, not tonight. You can move at the pace of the planet. Slow, steady, calm. So as we drift into these gentle facts together, I want you to keep breathing softly. Keep letting go. Keep sinking a little deeper with every word. There's nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to be. The only task in front of you tonight is to rest. And even that isn't really a task, because your body will do it all on its own if you simply get out of its way. Just listen. Let my voice be a soft blanket over your thoughts. Let the facts wash over you like slow, warm water. And whenever sleep comes for you, whether that's in a few minutes or a little while from now, just let it take you. Don't fight it. Don't hold on. Just let go. We've got a whole quiet night ahead of us, you and I, full of soft and wonderful things about this old, patient, beautiful planet. And I'll be right here for all of it, talking softly in the dark, helping you drift, one sleepy soul at a time. So settle in, get cozy, let your eyes grow heavy, and let's begin, slowly, gently, together. There's no rush at all. We have all the time in the world. Let's start somewhere gentle, somewhere soft, with the ground beneath you. You know, the very earth you're resting on tonight is unbelievably old. Almost 4.5 billion years old, if you can even hold a number like that in your mind. And honestly, you don't have to. You don't have to picture all those years. You just have to know that this planet has been turning, quietly and patiently, for longer than any of us can really imagine. Long before you were born. Long before anyone was born. The ground beneath your bed has been here through all of it, steady and unbothered, just spinning softly through the dark. And it'll still be here tomorrow, holding you up the same way it's holding you now. There's something so comforting in that, isn't there? You're resting on the oldest, most patient thing you've ever known. And here's a soft little thought to sink into. In all those billions of years, the Earth has never once stopped turning. Not for a single moment. It didn't pause for storms. It didn't pause for winters. It didn't pause for anything at all. It just kept rolling gently through space, night into day into night, over and over, the same slow rhythm it's keeping right now while you lie here. That rhythm has been going on for longer than there have been eyes to watch it. And tonight, you get to just close your eyes and let that rhythm carry you, the way it's carried everything and everyone who ever lived. You don't have to do anything to keep it going. It carries on all by itself, soft and sure, while you simply rest. Let me tell you something lovely about how slowly the whole thing moves. It feels like the ground beneath you is perfectly still, doesn't it? Solid, unmoving. And yet the Earth is turning under you all the time. At the middle of the planet, near the equator, the surface is spinning at around 1,000 miles an hour, which, in numbers that might mean a little more to you, is something like 1,600 kilometers every single hour. That's fast. Faster than any plane you've ever flown in. And yet you feel absolutely nothing. No wind, no rush, no sense of speed at all, just calm, quiet stillness. Because the Earth carries you so smoothly, so gently, that you can't even tell you're moving. It's the softest, steadiest ride there is. And you've been on it your whole life, cradled the entire time, never once jostled awake by it. Isn't that a kind thing to think about as you settle down? You're being carried gently right now, and you don't have to lift a finger. And it isn't only turning. The Earth is also traveling. All this time, while it spins, it's also moving in a great, wide circle around the sun. A slow, patient loop that takes a whole year to finish. That's what a year really is, when you think about it. Just one long, unhurried trip around our star, one gentle lap through the dark. And you've been on this journey the whole time, every day of your life, sailing quietly around the sun without ever feeling a bump. Right now, even as you lie here in the dark, you're moving through space at an astonishing speed, gliding along that great curved path. But it feels like nothing. It feels like rest, because that's how smooth this journey is. The Earth is the calmest ship you'll ever sail on, and it's taking you somewhere soft and quiet tonight, into sleep. Now, I want you to think for a moment about the air all around you, the air you're breathing right now, slow and easy, in and out. That air is part of something the Earth wraps itself in, a soft blanket of atmosphere that hugs the whole planet. It's thin, really, compared to the size of the Earth, thinner than the skin on an apple, if you shrank everything down to that size. And yet that delicate layer is what keeps us all safe and warm and breathing. It holds in just enough heat to keep the nights from turning bitterly cold. It shields us from the harshness of space above. It carries the clouds and the rain and the wind. And it's giving you every soft breath you're taking right now, without you ever having to ask for it. Just think about that. The whole planet is breathing along with you in a way. The air moving in and out of your lungs is the same gentle air that drifts over oceans and mountains and sleeping cities all around the world. You're sharing it with everyone. You always have been. And speaking of that air, here's a quiet little wonder. The sky above you looks blue during the day, doesn't it? Soft and pale in the morning, deep and rich by afternoon. And that color, that lovely blue, comes from the way sunlight scatters through all those tiny bits of air. The light bounces and spreads, and the blue part of it scatters the most, filling the whole sky with color. But at night, right now, that same sky pulls back its blue like a curtain being drawn and lets the darkness and the stars come through. The same air, the same sky, just showing you its other, quieter face. Its nighttime face. The one that's meant for resting under. So if you were to look up right now, past the ceiling, past the roof, you'd find that soft, dark sky waiting there, keeping watch over you and everyone else who's drifting off to sleep tonight. Let's drift down now gently toward the water, because so much of this planet is water, more than you might think. If you looked at the Earth from far away, most of what you'd see would be blue. Great, wide oceans stretching across the surface, covering most of the whole planet, something like 7 parts out of every 10. We call it the Earth, but really, it's mostly a world of water, with the land just resting on top like scattered islands in one enormous sea. And all that water is connected. Every ocean flows into the next, one great body of water wrapping all the way around the globe. So the same slow currents that move past one distant shore eventually curl their way around to another. It's all one gentle, connected thing, breathing and moving in its own unhurried time. And those oceans, they're deep, deeper than most people ever really picture. In some places, the water goes down and down for miles, for kilometers, into a darkness so complete that no sunlight has ever reached it. And down there, in that quiet, far-off deep, everything is still. The storms up at the surface never touch it. The waves crashing on the shore are a whole world away. Down in the deepest parts of the ocean, it's calm and dark and perfectly peaceful. And it has been that way for longer than we can imagine. I find that such a soothing thing to picture as I'm falling asleep. That somewhere on this same planet, right now, there's a place of absolute calm and quiet, where nothing hurries and nothing worries, where everything just drifts slowly in the dark. And in your own small way, in your own soft bed, you're a little bit like that deep, quiet water tonight. Still, calm, far from all the noise. Think about the sound of the ocean for a second. That slow, rolling sound of waves washing up and sliding back, up the sand and back again, over and over. It's one of the most calming sounds there is, and it's no accident that it soothes us so. That rhythm, that steady rise and fall, is a lot like breathing, a lot like the slow beat of a resting heart. When you listen to waves, some quiet part of you recognizes that rhythm, and it starts to slow you down, the way a mother rocking a cradle slows a baby towards sleep. So even if you're nowhere near the sea tonight, you can carry that rhythm with you. Let your breath move like the tide, in and out, in and out, slow and easy. No rush at all. The whole ocean has been keeping that rhythm for longer than there have been people to hear it. And it'll keep it long after we've all drifted off. You can borrow it for tonight. Let it rock you gently down into rest. And the tides themselves. Did you ever think about what actually moves them? It's the moon. That soft, pale moon hanging up in the night sky. It reaches across all that empty space and gives the oceans the gentlest of tugs. And the water answers by rising slowly all along the coasts, and then falling again, hours later, just as slowly. Twice a day, every day, the whole sea breathes in and out because the moon is quietly pulling on it. Isn't that a tender thing? The moon, so far away, so silent, still reaching down to move entire oceans without ever making a sound. It's been doing that since long before anyone was here to notice. And it's doing it right now, out there in the dark, while you rest. The same moon that's lifted every tide for millions and millions of years is up above you tonight, keeping its slow, faithful watch, pulling the seas along as softly as a hand smoothing a blanket. The moon has been with us a long, long time too. It's the Earth's oldest companion, circling us patiently, keeping us steady. In a way, the moon helps the Earth keep its balance as it spins, holding it gentle, and even so, the seasons stay soft and predictable. So spring always follows winter, and autumn always follows summer, the same reliable way, year after year after year. Without the moon, the whole planet might wobble more, and our weather might swing wildly from one extreme to another. But it doesn't, because the moon is there, quietly steadying us, like a hand resting lightly on the small of your back, keeping you calm and upright. So the next time you see that soft glow in the night sky, you can think of it as a kind old friend, one that's been keeping the Earth peaceful and steady for longer than there have been oceans to move. It's up there right now, doing its quiet work, while you do yours, which is nothing at all but rest. Let's come back to the land for a moment, back to solid ground, back to the gentle idea of the Earth holding you up. Beneath all the oceans, beneath all the soil and stone, the planet is made up of great slow layers. There's the surface we walk on, the part we know, all the mountains and valleys and fields and forests. And beneath that, the Earth goes down and down, layer under layer, all the way to a warm heart at the very center. It's warm down there, deep in the core, and that warmth has been there since the very beginning, since the planet first came together out of dust and stone billions of years ago. It's a slow, ancient warmth, and it moves so gently that a single stretch of the ground might take millions of years to shift even a little. That's how patient the Earth is. It does its deepest work at a pace so slow we can barely measure it, a pace that makes even the oldest mountains seem like they're standing still. And they are, more or less, standing still, holding steady, being the quiet, dependable ground beneath your feet, and beneath your bed, and beneath you right now. Those mountains, by the way, weren't always there. Isn't that a soft thing to think about? The tallest, grandest peaks in the world rose up so slowly that no one ever watched it happen. Bit by bit, over unthinkable spans of time, the ground pushed gently upward. And where there was once flat land, there are now enormous mountains reaching toward the sky. And they're still growing, some of them still rising, just so slowly that you'd never know. A mountain might climb the width of a fingernail in a whole year. That's how unhurried the earth is. It builds its greatest, most towering things at the softest, gentlest pace imaginable. Never rushing, never straining, just adding a little and a little more across ages and ages of quiet time. There's that lesson again, drifting back to us. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to rush. Even the mountains take their time. And tonight, so can you. So let all of that settle over you now, soft and slow. The ancient ground beneath you, the patient spinning of the whole planet, the gentle blanket of air you're breathing, the deep, calm oceans and their slow breathing tides, the faithful old moon steadying us all from far away, the warm heart of the earth turning so slowly it might as well be still. Every single one of these things is old and steady and utterly unhurried. And every single one of them is happening right now, quietly, all around you, without needing a thing from you at all. You get to just lie here in the middle of all that calm, held and carried and gently rocked, and let it all keep going without you. Because it will. It always has. And it always will. So breathe softly and sink a little deeper, and let's keep drifting together, slow and easy, into the quiet of this beautiful old world. Let's stay right here for a while, drifting slow, and let me tell you about the water that moves across this world. Not the big deep oceans this time, but the smaller, softer waters, the ones that wander quietly across the land. Somewhere out there, right now, there's a river making its way to the sea. It's in no hurry at all. It just follows the gentle slope of the ground, curving where the land curves, slowing down where the land goes flat, gathering itself into wide, calm pools, and then easing onward again. A river never fights the land it's crossing. It simply finds the softest, easiest path downhill and takes it, bending and looping and folding back on itself, taking the long way around, because the long way is the gentle way. And every river, no matter how big, no matter how small, is on that same slow journey, all of them heading quietly toward the same distant sea, carrying a little bit of the mountains down to the water, one soft trickle at a time. And here's the thing about that water that I've always found so soothing. It never really goes away. It just keeps moving in a great, slow circle, round and round, forever. The water in that river came from the rain, and the rain came from the clouds, and the clouds came from the sea, where the warm air lifted the tiniest bit of water up into the sky, so gently you'd never feel it happening. Up there, it gathered into those soft, drifting clouds, and it floated over the land. And when the moment was right, it came back down as rain, feeding the rivers, filling the lakes, soaking quietly into the ground. And then, in time, it finds its way back to the sea again, and the whole thing starts over, slow and patient and endless, the same water going round and round for billions of years. Some of the water resting in your glass tonight has probably been a cloud, and a river, and a raindrop, and a deep, cold part of the ocean, over and over again, long before you or I were ever here. Isn't that a lovely, quiet thing to hold on to? Nothing is ever lost. It just moves along, softly, and comes back around. Now think about the clouds themselves for a moment. Picture them the way they look on a slow afternoon. Those big, soft, rounded ones that just hang there in the sky, barely moving at all. They look so solid, don't they? Like you could lie down on one and it would hold you. Like a great heap of pillows floating up above the world. But a cloud is really the gentlest thing there is. It's made of countless tiny drops of water, each one so small and light that it simply floats, drifting on the softest currents of air. A whole cloud, as wide as a town, weighs almost nothing where it matters, spread out so thin and so fine that the air carries it along without any effort at all. And they're always changing, slowly, quietly, reshaping themselves as they drift. If you've ever watched a cloud for a long, lazy while, you've seen it happen. The edges softening, the shape stretching, one form melting gently into the next, so slowly you can hardly catch it in the act. They just keep on drifting and shifting up there, unhurried, going wherever the soft breeze takes them, asking nothing of anyone. And tonight, you can do exactly the same. Drift a little, change shape a little. Let the gentle currents carry you along, wherever they want to go. And when the rain does come, think about how soft it can be. Not the big, loud storms, but the quiet kind. That gentle, steady patter that falls on a slow, gray afternoon, tapping softly on the roof, on the leaves, on the window pane. There's a reason that sound makes so many of us sleepy. It's steady and even, and it asks nothing of us. It just keeps on falling, drop after drop after drop, each one landing soft, each one soaking into the thirsty ground where all the roots are waiting. The rain feeds everything, slowly and generously. The grass, the flowers, the tall old trees, the tiny seeds tucked down in the dark soil, waiting patiently for their turn to grow. And it never rushes. It just falls at its own gentle pace, giving the land a long, slow drink. And then it eases off, and the clouds drift apart, and everything is left green and quiet and freshly washed. If it's raining somewhere near you tonight, let that sound wrap around you like a soft blanket. And if it isn't, you can imagine it just the same. That soft, endless patter falling gently in the dark, while you lie here warm and dry and perfectly safe. Let's think about the trees for a while, because trees are some of the most patient, peaceful living things on this whole planet. A tree spends its entire life standing still. It never has to go anywhere. It just sinks its roots down deep into the ground, quiet and steady, and reaches its branches up toward the light. And it stays right there, in the same gentle spot, for its whole long life. And some trees live for a very, very long time. There are trees standing on the earth tonight that were already old when your great-great-grandparents were young. There are a few, tucked away in quiet forests, that have been standing in the very same spot for thousands of years. Through countless winters and summers, through storms and still nights, through every kind of weather the sky could offer. Just standing there, calm and rooted, adding one soft ring of growth each year, and then another, and then another. Think of how much quiet those old trees have known. Think of all the slow, peaceful nights they've stood through, just like this one, while the world turned gently beneath them and the stars wheeled overhead. They didn't do anything special to earn all those years. They just stayed put and grew a little at a time and let the seasons come and go. There's something so restful in that, isn't there? The idea that you can simply stay, and be still and let time drift past you, soft and slow. And a forest full of those trees is one of the calmest places in the whole world. If you've ever stood among tall trees on a quiet day, you know the feeling, that deep, cool hush, the soft green light filtering down through all the leaves, the gentle sway of the branches high above. Sound goes soft in a forest. Everything slows down. The air smells of earth and leaves and growing things, and there's a stillness there that seems to settle right into your bones. And all around you, so slowly you could never see it, the whole forest is quietly alive. The roots drinking from the soil, the leaves drinking in the light, everything working together at that gentle, unhurried, growing pace. Some of the roots down there are even joined up, one tree to the next, sharing a little of what they gather, passing quiet help back and forth beneath the ground, so that the whole forest is really one great, calm, connected thing. You can picture yourself resting there tonight if you'd like, lying on the soft forest floor, cushioned by moss and fallen leaves, with the tall trees keeping their quiet watch all around you, swaying ever so gently in the soft night air. Now let's drift somewhere quite different, somewhere warm and wide and endlessly still. Let's think about the desert at night. In the daytime, a desert can be a bright, sunlit place, but when the sun goes down, it becomes one of the most peaceful, silent places anywhere on Earth. The sand cools, the air softens, and everything grows quiet under a huge, wide sky scattered with stars. And those great rolling dunes, those soft mountains of sand, they move too, you know, slowly, so slowly, one gentle grain at a time. The wind lifts a little sand from one side of a dune and lays it down on the other, over and over, patient and unhurried. And across the long years, the whole dune travels a little, sliding gently across the land the way a cloud slides across the sky, just far, far slower. A single dune might drift the length of a few footsteps in a whole year. Imagine that. A hill of sand as tall as a house, wandering across the desert so gently that it would take a lifetime to notice. And it makes a soft sound sometimes. The sand, a low and gentle hum as it shifts, like the desert itself is breathing slow in its sleep. Everything out there is calm and quiet and unhurried. The whole wide landscape resting under the stars, waiting for the soft return of morning. And speaking of the cold, faraway places, let's think for a moment about the great fields of ice, way up at the top and bottom of the world, and high up on the tallest mountains. There are rivers of ice up there, called glaciers, and they move just like the sandy dunes and the winding rivers do, slowly, so slowly, flowing downhill under their own gentle weight. But a glacier is the most patient traveler of all. It might move only a little bit each day, so slowly you could stand and watch it for hours and never see it budge. And yet it's always moving, always easing its way down the mountain, carrying with it ice that fell as snow hundreds and even thousands of years ago. Think about that. The snow that falls softly this winter, up on some quiet mountaintop, might become part of a glacier, and it might spend the next 1,000 years slowly, slowly, making its way down toward the valley, a little at a time, never rushing, never stopping. Deep inside those glaciers, the ice is so old and so pressed together that it turns the softest shade of blue, a deep, calm, glowing blue, the color of quiet itself. And it's all happening right now, Up there in the cold, clean air, that endless, gentle, patient sliding of the ice, going on in the dark while you rest here, warm and cozy and still. Let's come back down to somewhere gentler, somewhere green. Let's think about a meadow in the soft light of evening. Picture the tall grass swaying, the wildflowers folding their petals close for the night, the way they do, tucking themselves in as the light fades. So many flowers do that. You know, they open up to the morning sun and close again gently as evening comes, following the slow rhythm of the day without ever being told to, opening and closing, opening and closing, in time with the turning of the world. And as the sun sinks lower, the meadow goes quiet and soft. The busy little hum of the daytime fades away. The air cools and settles. A gentle mist might rise up from the low places, drifting slow across the ground, like a soft gray blanket being pulled up over the fields. And everything out there gets ready for the night in its own quiet way. The flowers closing, the birds settling into the hedges, the whole meadow breathing out one long, slow breath as the darkness comes softly down. It's the same thing you're doing now, really. Closing up gently for the night, settling in, letting the day fold itself away, petal by petal, and giving yourself over to the soft and easy dark. And think of the mist itself, that low, soft fog that gathers on quiet nights and drifts so gently across the land. It's really just a cloud that's come down to rest on the ground for a while. The same tiny drops of water, hanging low and soft in the cool night air. It muffles every sound. It softens every edge. It turns the whole world into something dreamlike and hushed and gentle, where shapes fade in and out and everything feels slow and quiet and close. Fog never rushes anywhere. It just drifts and gathers and lingers, moving with the softest breath of air. And then, when the morning comes and the ground warms up, it lifts away again, so gently you'd never catch the moment it disappeared. There's no hurry in it at all. It simply comes when the night is cool and still, and rests a while over the sleeping land, and moves on in its own soft time. So let a little of that softness settle over you now. Let the edges of your day go blurry and gentle. Let the quiet gather close around you, the way the mist gathers over the meadow, hushing everything, soothing everything, wrapping the whole world in soft gray calm. And underneath all of this, the rivers and the rain, the clouds and the trees, the deserts and the ice and the misty meadows. The ground goes on holding everything up, steady and sure, the way it always has. The soil beneath the grass is older and richer than we ever really think about. It's made of tiny bits of stone, worn down over ages, and fallen leaves gone soft and dark, and all the slow, patient work of countless small living things, all mixed together into that dark, gentle earth where everything grows. And it holds the seeds so carefully. All through the cold months, deep in that quiet soil, the seeds just wait, resting in the dark, in no hurry at all, warm and safe beneath the frost. They don't try to grow before it's time. They simply wait, patient and still, until the ground warms and the rain comes soft again. And then, in their own gentle season, they wake and reach up toward the light. There's such deep peace in that, in the waiting, in the resting, in the trusting that the right time will come without any pushing or straining at all. The seeds know how to rest. the soil knows how to hold them. And tonight, you can know it too. You don't have to grow or reach or do a single thing. You can just rest in the warm and gentle dark, like a seed in the good deep earth, held and safe and perfectly at ease, waiting for nothing, needing nothing, softly and slowly, letting the whole quiet world carry you along. And staying down there in that good deep earth for a moment, think about the roots. All beneath the quiet ground, hidden away where no one ever sees them, the roots of the trees are spreading out, slow and patient, reaching through the dark soil in every direction. A single old tree can have roots that stretch out wider than all its branches put together, quietly holding on, quietly drinking up the water and the goodness of the earth. And they're not alone down there. Threaded all through that soil are the softest, finest little threads of fungi, thinner than a hair, weaving between the roots and linking one tree to the next, passing along water and food, and even quiet little messages from tree to tree. Some people call it the wood wide web, this hidden network under the forest floor, where the old trees look after the young ones and nobody ever stands alone. It's a whole quiet world down there, working away in the dark, gentle and unhurried, holding the whole forest together. And you don't have to lift a finger for any of it. It just happens, night after night, root reaching toward root beneath the sleeping woods, everything connected, everything held, everything softly taken care of while the world above lies still. And up above that hidden world, on the soft forest floor, there's the moss. You know the kind, that deep, soft green that grows over the old stones and the fallen logs and the shady side of the trees. Moss is one of the oldest, gentlest plants there is. It doesn't have flowers. It doesn't have roots the way other plants do. It just grows low and slow and quiet, spreading out in soft velvet patches wherever the air is cool and damp. Moss has been around for something like 400 million years, long before there were any trees at all, long before there were flowers, quietly greening the world while everything else was still finding its way. And it asks for so little, just a bit of shade, a little moisture, a stone to rest on. It never rushes to grow tall. It just spreads out soft and low, cushioning the ground, softening every hard edge, turning old gray rock into something gentle you'd want to lay your head on. Imagine resting your cheek against a patch of moss like that, cool and soft and deep, in the green hush of an old wood. That's the kind of softness settling over you now, spreading slow and quiet, cushioning everything, smoothing everything down. And think too of the caves, deep down under the hills, further down than the roots can reach. There are great quiet rooms of stone that no daylight ever touches. It's dark down there, and still, and the air stays the same cool, gentle temperature all the year round, no matter what the weather does up above. In some of those caves, drop by drop, over thousands and thousands of years, the water seeps down through the rock and leaves behind the tiniest trace of stone. And slowly, so slowly you could never watch it happen, it builds up into great smooth columns and delicate hanging shapes, like stone icicles that took 10,000 years to grow. There's no hurry down there at all. A single one of those stone shapes might grow just the width of a hair in a whole year, patient beyond anything we can really imagine, building beauty in the dark where no one's watching. And it's so quiet in those deep places, the kind of quiet where you could hear your own heartbeat. The kind of deep, still, cradling quiet that's been resting there, undisturbed, for longer than there have been people to wonder about it. Let a little of that deep earth stillness settle into you now, that patient, ancient calm that never needs to rush toward anything. And far out in the ocean, in the warm, shallow waters near the equator, there are the coral reefs. Now, a coral reef looks like a garden of stone, all those beautiful shapes and colors. But the truth is far lovelier than that. Every bit of that reef was built by tiny, tiny creatures, softer and smaller than your fingertip, each one adding its own little piece over the long, slow years. Some of the great reefs out there took millions of years to grow, one gentle layer at a time, built up by countless small lives all quietly doing their part. And at night, the reef doesn't sleep the way we do. The little coral animals open up softly in the dark water and reach out their tiny arms to catch the food that drifts by on the current. Whole slow shoals of fish drift in among the coral to rest, tucking themselves into the quiet nooks, swaying just slightly with the gentle push and pull of the sea. It's a peaceful place down there in the warm, dark water, everything rocking so softly, everything held in the slow, steady rhythm of the tide. Picture yourself drifting there for a moment, weightless and easy, rocked by water that's been rocking gently since long before anyone was here to feel it. And the whales. Somewhere out in those wide, deep oceans tonight, there are whales, the biggest creatures that have ever lived on this whole planet, bigger than the largest dinosaurs ever were. The blue whale can grow to nearly 30 meters long, and its heart alone is about the size of a small car, beating slow and steady down in that great gentle body. And for all their size, whales move through the water so smoothly, so quietly, gliding along without any effort at all. They sing to each other too, long, low songs that travel for hundreds of kilometers through the deep water. Whales calling softly to other whales far, far away across the dark and open sea. A whale can sleep while it's still moving, resting one half of its brain at a time, drifting slow and easy just beneath the surface, rising now and then for a soft breath and sinking down again. Imagine that, sleeping while you drift, carried along by the great calm body of the ocean, never having to think about a thing. That deep, slow, easy rest, rocked by the endless gentle water. That's the kind of rest waiting for you now. And when the season turns and the year grows old, think of the way the leaves change color in the autumn. All through the warm months, the leaves are busy and green, quietly drinking in the sunlight day after day. But when the days start growing shorter and the air turns cool, the trees begin, so gently, to let go. The green fades away, and underneath it come the soft golds and warm ambers and deep, quiet reds that were hiding there all along. And then, one still afternoon, the leaves begin to fall, drifting down slow and lazy through the cool air, turning and turning, settling softly onto the ground below. There's no struggle in it. The tree isn't losing anything. Not really. It's just resting, letting go of what it doesn't need for the cold months ahead, going quiet and still and patient until the spring comes round again. There's such gentle wisdom in that, in knowing when to hold on and when to simply let go, when to be busy and green, and when to rest bare and quiet through the long, still winter. So let yourself let go tonight, the way the trees do, easily, without any struggle at all, releasing the whole day, leaf by leaf, and settling softly down into the quiet. And once those leaves have fallen, think of the snow that comes after. In the coldest, stillest part of the year, snow has to be one of the quietest things in all the world. When it falls without a sound, each little flake drifting down so slow and soft. And every one of them, every single one, is different from all the others. A tiny six-sided pattern that has never existed before and will never exist again. And when the snow settles thick over the fields and the rooftops and the trees, it does something wonderful to the world. It hushes everything. Fresh snow is full of tiny pockets of air, and those little pockets soak up sound, so that a snowy morning is just about the most silent thing there is. That deep, soft, muffled quiet where the whole world seems to be holding its breath. Everything looks rounder under the snow, softer, gentler, all the sharp edges smoothed away under a thick white blanket. Picture that now. The world outside gone soft and white and utterly still. The snow lying deep and quiet over everything. And you tucked up warm and cozy inside, wrapped in your own soft blanket, while the silent flakes keep drifting down in the dark. Warm and safe and perfectly still, with all that gentle quiet settling over the whole sleeping land. And high up in the far northern skies, on the coldest, clearest winter nights, there's something even more wonderful. The northern lights, way up at the top of the world. When the night is dark and long, the sky sometimes fills with great slow curtains of soft green and pale pink and gentle violet light, rippling and drifting across the stars like something out of a dream. It's a quiet thing, the northern lights. No sound at all, just those soft colors swaying and shimmering high overhead, slow as a breath, gentle as a sigh. The whole thing comes from the sun, from tiny pieces of the sun drifting all the way across space and meeting the very top of our air, and turning, up there in the cold and the dark, into that soft and silent glow. People travel a long way just to lie back in the snow and watch those quiet lights move across the sky. Imagine that, lying warm and bundled in the deep snow, looking up at the whole sky shimmering soft and green above you, so slow, so calm, so utterly peaceful. Let those gentle colors drift across the back of your mind now, slow and soft and silent, soothing you down towards sleep. And even the stars themselves, those tiny points of light scattered all across the night, they're steadier and calmer than we ever really think. The light you see from a star tonight left it long, long ago, traveling quietly across all that dark and empty space for years and years before it ever reached your eyes. Some of that starlight is so old, it started its journey before you were even born, drifting patiently all that time just to arrive here now, soft and small, on this quiet night. The stars turn slowly overhead as the night goes on, wheeling in their great slow circle the way they have for all of time. And the same stars you might see out your window tonight are the very same ones your grandparents looked up at, and their grandparents before them, all the way back and back. There's something so steadying in that, isn't there? Knowing those same quiet lights have been shining down on sleeping people for thousands and thousands of years, patient and constant and calm, keeping their slow watch over the whole turning world while everyone below drifts off to sleep. And before we drift on together into the next quiet stretch of our night, I'd love it if you do one small, soft thing for me whenever you happen to wake up gentle and rested. Leave a little comment down below and tell me where in the world you're listening from tonight, and which of these quiet things helped carry you off to sleep. Was it the moss, or the deep still caves, or the snow falling soft and silent over everything? I always love reading those little notes, knowing there are so many of us out there, all over this old and patient planet, settling down under the same slow stars, sharing the same gentle quiet. But there's no need to do it now. Right now, there's nothing at all you need to do but rest and breathe and let yourself sink a little deeper into the soft and easy dark, while I go on murmuring quietly beside you, telling you more soft and lovely things about this beautiful, sleepy world of ours. There's a soft, slow thing the moon is doing right now, tonight, that hardly anyone ever stops to think about. That pale, quiet moon up there isn't sitting still at all. Little by little, year after year, it's drifting away from us, oh so gently, moving just a tiny bit farther out into space with every slow turn of the world. It moves away about as much as your fingernails grow in a year. Just a soft handful of centimeters. Nothing you'd ever notice in a whole lifetime, or in 100 lifetimes stacked one on top of the other. But over the long, long ages of the earth, that gentle drift adds up, and the moon that hangs above you now sits a little farther out than the moon that shone down on the very first creatures that ever crawled up onto the land. It's all happening so slowly, so patiently, this quiet parting between the earth and its old companion, that it feels less like leaving and more like the two of them simply breathing out together across the millions of years. There's no rush to it, no drama, just that soft and constant drift, calm as everything else up there in the deep and easy dark. And here's a gentle little thing about the oceans, about all that water wrapped around the world. Have you ever wondered why the sea is salty? It's the rivers that do it. Believe it or not, the very same slow rivers we talked about earlier, winding their way down to the sea. As all that fresh water travels over the land, it picks up the tiniest amounts of salt from the rocks and the soil, so little you'd never taste it. And it carries all those tiny grains down to the ocean over the years. The water at the sea's edge lifts up into the sky as soft vapor and drifts away as clouds. But the salt stays behind, gathering ever so slowly over enormous stretches of time. So every ocean you've ever seen, every wave that's ever rolled up onto a beach, is salty because of billions of years of quiet rivers carrying their little gifts down to the sea, one soft grain at a time. Isn't that a lovely thought to rest on? That the great salt oceans of the world were filled up drop by drop, slow and patient, by all the gentle rivers that ever were. Now think for a moment about the sand on a beach. That soft, warm sand that shifts under your feet when you walk down to the water. Every single grain of that sand was once part of something bigger. A piece of a mountain maybe, or a smooth stone in a riverbed, or even the shell of some little creature that lived in the sea long ago. The world spends untold ages patiently breaking those big things down into smaller and smaller pieces. The water and the wind working away at them, oh so gently, over thousands upon thousands of years, until at last they become those tiny soft grains you let run through your fingers on a summer afternoon. And there are more grains of sand on this earth than anyone could ever hope to count. more than all the words ever spoken, more than all the footsteps ever taken. Each little grain has its own long, slow story, its own quiet journey down from some old mountain to the warm and easy edge of the sea. You could hold a whole hillside's worth of ancient stone in the palm of one hand, all of it worn soft and small and gentle by the patient passing of time. And speaking of that patient passing, let me tell you something soft about the deepest parts of the ocean, down where the sunlight never reaches. Far, far below the waves, deeper than the tallest mountains are high, there's a whole dark and silent world where the water is still and cold and calm. Down there, in that deep and peaceful dark, live little creatures that make their own soft light, glowing gently blue and green all on their own, drifting slowly through the water like tiny, quiet lanterns. Nobody up here ever sees them, floating and glimmering in the deep, going about their slow and gentle lives in the great still dark, lighting their own little way through water that has never once felt the warmth of the sun. Just imagine them down there right now, as you lie here warm and safe in your bed. Those soft, small lights drifting patiently through the deep, glowing gentle in the quiet, keeping the deep sea softly lit all through the long, calm night. And up near the surface, in the warmer, brighter water, there are forests you might never have pictured. Great swaying forests made of kelp, tall ribbons of soft green and gold that grow up from the seafloor and reach toward the light far above. They sway back and forth in the slow ocean currents, gentle as trees in a summer breeze. Only these trees move underwater, drifting this way and that in the quiet swell. Little fish dart softly through them, and slow sea creatures rest among their swaying fronds. And the whole thing moves together, back and forth, back and forth, slow as breathing, calm as sleep. Some of that kelp can grow taller than the tallest trees on land, stretching up and up through the clear water toward the shimmering light. And it grows fast and easy in the cool sea, swaying always, never still, rocking gently in the endless slow rhythm of the tide. Picture those quiet underwater forests now, swaying soft and slow in the deep blue water, gentle and green and calm, rocking back and forth all through the peaceful night. There's a creature I'd love to tell you about too, because it might just be the sleepiest, most peaceful animal in the whole wide world. High up in the warm green trees of the rainforest lives the sloth, and the sloth does everything slowly, so very slowly, moving through the branches at the gentlest, softest pace you could ever imagine. It takes its time with absolutely everything, never in a hurry, never rushing, just drifting easy through the treetops, one slow, soft reach at a time. It sleeps for great long stretches of the day, curled up snug and safe among the leaves. And when it does move, it moves so gently that little green plants can grow right on its soft fur, giving it a quiet coat of living green. There's a whole calm little world up there in the slow branches, moving at the pace of drifting clouds, unbothered by anything, in no rush to be anywhere at all. Maybe there's a bit of wisdom in that, in taking things soft and slow, in resting long and easy, in letting the whole world hurry by while you simply breathe and drift and rest. And here's something gentle about the turning of the seasons, about the way the whole world tips itself slowly toward the sun and slowly away again, over and over, year after year. The earth leans just a little as it travels its great slow circle, and that little lean is the whole reason we have summer and winter at all. When your part of the world tips softly toward the sun, the days grow long and warm and green, and when it tips gently away, the days grow short and cool and quiet, and the snow comes drifting down. It all happens so smoothly, so gradually, that you hardly ever notice it moving. One soft day melting into the next, the light shifting just a hair at a time, until one morning you wake and find the whole world has quietly changed its code. There's no jolt to it, no sudden switch, just that gentle, endless tipping back and forth. The world breathing slowly through its seasons the way it always has. Patient and calm and sure. And no matter how cold and dark the winter gets, the lean always turns back around again. The warmth always comes creeping softly home, as certain and as gentle as anything in all the world. Let me tell you too about the soft gray fog that gathers low over the water on a still morning, and about the dew that settles quiet on the grass while everyone sleeps. All through the night, while the world lies dark and calm, the cool air lets go of the tiny bits of water it's been carrying, and those little drops settle down ever so softly onto every leaf and every blade of grass, onto every petal and every strand of spider's silk. By the time the first pale light comes up, the whole world outside is jeweled with soft little beads of water, thousands upon thousands of them, each one holding a tiny curved reflection of the waking sky. Nobody puts them there, and nobody ever sees it happen. It just comes quietly in the dark, the way so many gentle things do, settling soft over the sleeping world while everyone rests. And when the sun finally rises and warms the ground, those little drops lift slowly back up into the air again, drifting away as soft, invisible vapor, ready to fall again the next quiet night. Over and over it goes, this gentle settling and rising, the world dressing itself in dew each night and shaking it softly off each morning, calm and easy and never once in a hurry. Now, high up in the sky, far above even the tallest mountains, there are clouds drifting slowly by, and I want you to think for a moment about how soft and patient they are. A cloud is really just a great gathering of the tiniest drops of water, so small and light that they simply float, hanging there in the cool high air, drifting wherever the slow winds carry them. They gather and they part. They grow and they fade, changing their soft shapes so gently that you could watch one for a long while and never quite catch it moving. Some drift low and gray and heavy with soft rain, and some float high and thin and wispy, brushed out in long, gentle streaks across the pale blue sky. And they never stop their slow, quiet traveling, riding the high winds all the way around the whole turning world, crossing over the oceans and the mountains and the wide green plains, drifting soft above the sleeping cities and the quiet little towns. The very cloud that drops its soft rain on your part of the world tonight might have gathered its water from an ocean half a world away, carried all that long, slow distance through the high, cold air just to fall gently here, on this quiet night, while you rest. And down on the ground, in the soft, warm meadows where the wildflowers grow, there's a gentle bit of work going on all through the long summer days, so quiet you'd hardly know it was there. The bees drift slowly from bloom to bloom, soft and unhurried, gathering their little bits of sweetness and carrying the fine golden dust from one flower to the next. And in doing so, They help the whole meadow bloom again the following year. It's a slow and easy partnership, older than anyone can really imagine. The flowers and the bees looking after one another season after season, each one giving the other exactly what it needs. The flowers offer up their soft, sweet nectar, and the bees carry their gentle gift of golden dust from bloom to bloom. And so the meadows stay full of color, year after quiet year. There's a soft, low hum to a summer meadow at midday, gentle and warm and drowsy. The sound of all that easy, slow work going on among the swaying flowers. A sound as calming as anything, soft as a lullaby drifting over the grass. Picture that warm, quiet meadow now. All those soft colors nodding gently in the breeze. That low, sleepy hum drifting over everything, calm and warm and slow. And far to the south, at the very bottom of the world, there's a whole vast land of ice and snow lying quiet under the great southern sky, calmer and more silent than almost anywhere else on this whole planet. It's a place of deep, still white, stretching farther than the eye could ever follow, soft and smooth and shining, where the snow has been gathering gently, layer upon layer, for hundreds of thousands of years. Down in that ancient ice is held the oldest, purest quiet in all the world, frozen soft and still, keeping the whole long memory of the earth's slow weather locked away in the deep and patient cold. Hardly anyone ever goes there, and when they do, they speak of a silence so complete and so gentle that you can hear the soft sound of your own easy breathing, and nothing else at all, just the great white calm stretching out in every direction under the wide and quiet sky. Imagine standing in all that soft, still white, wrapped up warm, with the whole peaceful world hushed around you, the snow lying deep and gentle beneath your feet, the calm stretching on and on into the soft distance, the most peaceful quiet the earth has anywhere to give. And you know, while we're down here in the deep quiet of the world, let me tell you about the great rivers of the ocean, the ones you can't see from any shore. All through the seas, there are these slow, steady currents, warm water and cold water moving in long, patient loops around the whole planet, turning gently over the years, like something stirred by a slow and careful hand. There's one warm current that carries the heat of the tropics all the way up to the cold northern shores. And because of that soft ribbon of warm water traveling so far, whole countries stay a little milder than they otherwise would. The winters a little gentler, the harbors a little kinder. It's a slow and quiet kindness, really. The warm seas sharing their warmth with the cold ones, spreading it out across the whole globe so patiently that no one part of the world holds all the heat to itself. And these currents take their time. Oh, they take such a long, long time. A single drop of water might drift the whole way around the world on those slow ocean rivers, taking 1,000 years to make the journey, rising and sinking and rising again through the deep and quiet dark. Imagine that, 1,000 years of gentle drifting, round and round the sleeping world, soft and slow, and never once in any hurry at all. And up above the water, when the light is just right, when the sun comes out soft after a bit of gentle rain, the sky sometimes gives us a rainbow, arching quiet and lovely across the clouds. It's such a simple thing, really, and such a gentle one. Just the sunlight passing through all those tiny drops of water still hanging in the air. And each little drop bends the light just so, splitting it out into all its soft and separate colors. red and orange and yellow, then green and blue, and the palest violet, all laid out in a smooth and gentle curve, hanging there in the clean, washed air for a little while, before it quietly fades away again. And here's a soft and curious thing about a rainbow. No two people ever see quite the same one. The rainbow you see is made just for you, from the light bending toward your own eyes and no one else's, so that even standing right beside someone, each of you is looking at your very own quiet arc of color. It's a gentle little secret the sky keeps, giving each of us our own soft rainbow, painted just for us out of light and rain, and the slow turning of a summer afternoon. Now let me tell you about the great old forests that grow far up in the cold north of the world, where the winters are long and the air is clean and sharp with the smell of pine. These are the quiet forests of tall, dark evergreens, spreading out mile after mile after mile, farther than you could ever walk, wrapping right around the top of the whole planet like a soft green belt. In those northern woods, the snow lies deep and soft for much of the year, resting gently on the heavy branches, and the trees stand patient and still beneath it all, holding their green needles right through the coldest months, while everything else sleeps. It's one of the largest, calmest stretches of forest anywhere on Earth, and there are places in it so still and so far from any road that no person has ever set foot there at all. Just the trees and the snow and the slow northern light, keeping their own gentle company season after season, year after year. Picture all that quiet green stretching on beyond the edge of sight, the soft snow settling down through the still air, the tall trees standing calm and dark against the pale winter sky, holding their peaceful silence in the deep cold of the north. And down in the warmer parts of the world, there's a soft and gentle wonder that happens on certain quiet evenings, when the sun has just gone down and the air is warm and still. Out over the meadows and the gardens and the edges of the woods, little points of soft light begin to appear, blinking on and off, drifting lazy through the dusk. Fireflies, they're called, tiny gentle creatures that carry their own soft glow, lighting up the warm summer dark with their slow and silent flickering. There's no sound to it at all, just those little lights rising and falling through the gathering night, each one blinking its own soft rhythm, calling gently to the others across the warm and quiet air. And the light they make is a cool and gentle light, soft as anything, made inside their own small bodies without any heat at all, a quiet little glow that costs them nothing and asks for nothing. Imagine standing at the edge of a warm meadow on a soft summer night, watching all those little lights drift and blink and float through the dark, gentle as slow sparks, quiet as a held breath, the whole field glowing soft and low beneath the first pale stars. And speaking of long and patient journeys, let me tell you about the birds, the ones that travel such enormous distances every year, following the seasons around the turning world. When the cold begins to settle in at one end of the earth, whole flocks of them lift up quietly and set off, flying south to find the softer, warmer air. And then, when the seasons turn again, they make the long journey back, home to the very place they started from. Some of these birds travel farther than you'd ever believe. There's one small seabird that flies from the very top of the world all the way down to the very bottom and back again, every single year, chasing the summer sun from one end of the planet to the other. so that it lives almost its whole long life in gentle daylight. And they don't rush it, not really. They drift along on the high winds, resting where they can, gliding for hours on their soft, outstretched wings, letting the moving air carry them along on their slow and ancient path. They've been making these same quiet journeys for longer than anyone can say, generation after generation, following the very same routes across the sky. Each new flock somehow knowing the way without ever being told. Think of all those soft wings beating slow and steady through the high, clean air, following the old paths across the whole wide world, carried along by nothing but the wind and the turning of the seasons. And here's something lovely and slow about the way the land itself gets made, right beneath our feet, so quietly that we hardly ever notice. That good dark soil that everything grows in, the soft rich earth of the gardens and the fields and the forest floor. It isn't just there, it gets made gently over the longest stretches of time. Every fallen leaf, every bit of old bark, every soft and quiet thing that settles down onto the ground gets slowly folded back into the earth, broken down gentle and patient by all the tiny living things that work away in the dark below. The little worms move slow through the soil, turning it over and over, letting the air and the water down into it, doing their quiet work without ever a sound. And it takes such a long time to make even the thinnest layer of good rich earth, hundreds of years sometimes, to build up just a soft handful of it, grain by grain, leaf by leaf, all through the slow and steady patience of the living ground. So when you walk across a soft green field, you're walking on centuries of quiet work, all that gentle patience gathered up beneath your feet, holding up the grass and the flowers and the tall, slow trees. And let me tell you about the waterfalls, the places where a river comes to the edge of something and simply lets itself go, tumbling soft and steady down into the pool below. There's a lovely gentle sound to a waterfall, a soft and endless rushing that never stops and never changes. Just the same easy roar going on and on, hour after hour, year after year. And the water throws up a fine, cool mist where it lands, hanging soft in the air all around, catching the light so that little rainbows come and go in the spray, quiet and lovely, appearing and fading as the sun moves slowly across the sky. Some waterfalls are so tall that the water breaks apart into soft white mist long before it ever reaches the bottom, drifting down gentle as falling snow, so light and slow you'd hardly know it was falling at all. And these places too are patient beyond imagining, for the falling water wears away at the stones so gently, so slowly, that the whole waterfall creeps backward up its own river over the long ages, one soft grain of rock at a time, so slow that 100 lifetimes would hardly show the change. Picture that soft, endless curtain of falling water, the cool mist hanging in the air, the quiet rainbows coming and going, the deep, steady sound of it filling the whole green valley, calm and constant, and never once in any hurry. And far out in the wide oceans, there are islands that were born from fire, though you'd never guess it to see them now, all soft and green and peaceful in the warm blue sea. Long, long ago, deep beneath the water, the slow heat of the earth pushed up gently, layer upon layer, building the land up bit by bit, until at last it rose quiet above the waves. And then the years went to work on it, soft and patient. The rain and the wind wore the rock down gentle, the seeds came drifting in on the wind and the water, carried by the birds and the waves from far away. And slowly, so slowly, the bare stone turned green and living. Now there are islands out there covered in soft forests and gentle beaches, full of birds and flowers and quiet growing things. And every one of them started as a small warm push from deep inside the earth, built up patient over the long ages until it became a home. Some of them are so far from anywhere else that the plants and creatures living there are found nowhere else in all the world, having drifted in long ago and settled down to make their own soft, quiet way. Imagine one of those gentle islands now, warm and green in the middle of the wide blue sea, the soft waves lapping at the quiet shore. The whole peaceful place built up so slowly out of fire and rain and the endless patience of the deep. And when the warm months begin to fade and the cool of the year comes creeping in, the great forests put on their softest, slowest show of all. All through the summer, the leaves stay busy and green. But as the days grow shorter and the light turns gentle and low, the green quietly drains away, and underneath it all, these other soft colors begin to show. Deep gold and warm amber and gentle red, glowing soft across the hillsides. It happens slow and easy, a little more each day, until whole forests are lit up warm and golden in the soft autumn light, the leaves glowing gentle against the pale gray sky. And then, one soft still day at a time, the leaves begin to let go, drifting down slow and quiet through the cool air, settling gentle onto the ground below to make a soft, warm blanket over all the roots and the sleeping earth. There's no hurry to any of it, no sound but the soft rustle of the falling leaves, just the trees quietly letting go of the old year, getting ready to rest through the long, cold months ahead. Picture those warm, golden woods now, the soft leaves drifting slow and easy through the still air, settling down gentle onto the quiet ground. The whole forest glowing soft and warm in the low autumn light, calm and slow, and ready for its long, deep rest. And after those leaves have all come down and the cold settles in for good, something lovely happens to the still lakes up in the quiet north. The water at the top grows colder and colder, night after night, until one calm evening it goes still as glass, and a thin skin of ice begins to form across the surface. Soft and clear at first, hardly there at all. Then it thickens, slow and patient, a little more each night, until the whole lake lies under a smooth sheet of ice, quiet and shining beneath the pale winter sky. And here's the gentle part, the part that always makes me smile. Down beneath that ice, the water never freezes solid. It stays soft and liquid and just above freezing all winter long. And all the little fish and the sleepy creatures of the lake drift down low into that dark, still water and wait out the cold together, safe and calm beneath their shining roof of ice. The whole lake just rests, you see, holding its breath through the long, cold months, waiting for the soft return of spring. Picture that frozen lake now, smooth and pale under the winter stars. The snow drifted soft around its edges, everything hushed and waiting, and all that quiet life resting gentle in the dark water far below. And speaking of things that wait through the long, slow years, let me tell you about the oldest living trees in all the world. Far away, high up on the dry, gentle slopes of certain quiet mountains, there are trees so old it hardly seems possible. Some of them have been standing there, alive and growing for nearly 5,000 years. Just think about that for a moment. Soft and slow. That tree was already old, already tall and twisted and wise when the very first pyramids were being built. It stood through every winter and every summer, every storm and every still calm day for 50 long centuries, never once moving from its quiet spot on the mountain. It doesn't grow fast, a tree like that. It takes its time, adding just the thinnest little ring of new wood each year, so slow you'd never see it, patient beyond anything we can really imagine. And it's still there tonight, standing in the dark on its lonely slope, the cool wind moving soft through its old branches, keeping its long, silent watch over the years the way it always has. There's something deeply peaceful in that, I think. Knowing that while we sleep, these ancient gentle trees just go on standing, calm and unhurried, the way they have for thousands and thousands of years. Now, way down deep in the dark ocean, deeper than any sunlight ever reaches, there's a soft and gentle magic that hardly anyone ever gets to see. Down there in that cold black water, some of the little creatures make their own light. It's true, they glow soft and quiet in the endless dark. Some of them shine a pale blue, gentle as moonlight, and others give off little sparks of green or the faintest silver, drifting through the deep like slow floating stars. There's no sun down there, no daylight at all. So these small soft creatures light their own way, blinking and glowing quietly as they move through the still water. Whole clouds of them will shimmer together sometimes, soft and slow, lighting up a little patch of the deep, dark sea before drifting apart again into the black. It's calm down there and quiet, quieter than anywhere up here on land, and cold and still. And through all that endless dark, these little living lights just go on glowing, soft and patient, far below the waves where the storms never reach. Imagine that for a moment as you drift off. That deep, dark, peaceful water, and all those tiny, gentle lights blinking softly in the endless calm. You know that smell that comes just before the rain, or maybe just as the first drops begin to fall on the dry ground. That warm, earthy, wonderful smell that seems to rise up out of the very soil. There's a soft old reason for it, and it's one of my favorite little things about this planet. All through the dry stretches, when no rain has fallen for a while, the ground quietly gathers up tiny bits of oil from the plants and little traces left behind in the earth. And they just sit there in the dry soil, waiting. And then, when the rain finally comes, when those first soft drops touch the dry ground, all of that lifts up gently into the air. And that's the smell you catch. The smell of the earth breathing out, welcoming the water home. People have loved that smell for as long as there have been people. It means rest for the thirsty ground. It means the plants can drink again. It means the slow green cycle of things is turning on the way it always does. So the next time you catch that soft, warm smell of coming rain, you'll know it's the earth itself, quietly glad, breathing out a gentle welcome to the water. Picture that now. A warm, still evening, the first soft drops beginning to fall, and that lovely earthy smell rising gentle all around you. And along the warm, quiet edges of certain seas, where the land and the water meet in slow, shallow places, there are strange and gentle forests that grow right down into the salty tide. These are the mangroves, trees that have learned to live with their roots in the sea, standing on great tangled arching roots that lift them up above the water, like they're wading in, slow and careful. When the tide comes in soft and quiet, the water rises up around all those twisting roots, and little fish and small soft creatures drift in among them, hiding safe in the calm shade. And when the tide slips back out again, the roots are left standing in the wet, shining mud, glistening quiet in the warm light. It's a peaceful place, a mangrove wood, the water moving slow and gentle, the leaves rustling soft overhead, the whole tangled forest holding the shoreline together, keeping the land safe from the big waves and giving 1,000 little creatures a calm, quiet place to live. And these gentle woods have been doing that patient work for a very long time, standing at the soft edge of things, half in the land and half in the sea, calm and steady through the turning of the tides. Imagine one of those warm, quiet mangrove shores now, the tide moving slow through the tangled roots, the soft green leaves whispering above, everything gentle and unhurried in the warm, still air. Here's something so slow you'd never feel it, not in a whole lifetime, not in 100 lifetimes. The very land beneath us is moving. The great pieces of the Earth's crust, the huge slow plates that carry the continents on their backs, are drifting, all of them, ever so gently, across the soft, hot rock deep below. But oh, they move slowly. They drift about as fast as your fingernails grow. Just that slow, just that quiet, a tiny bit each year, and no more. You'd never notice it, not ever. But over the long, long ages, it adds up to something enormous. Whole oceans have opened up wide over millions of years, one slow inch at a time. Mountains have risen where two of those great plates press gently together, pushing the land up and up over ages beyond counting. The map of the world was different long ago, and it'll be different again far in the future. All because of this slow, slow drifting that never stops and never hurries. Even right now, tonight, while you lie there so still and calm, the ground beneath you is drifting on its long, slow journey, gentle as anything, carrying you along with it through the dark. There's something wonderfully peaceful in that, I think. The whole world moving so slowly, so patiently, that it feels for all the world like nothing's moving at all. Down along the rocky shores, where the sea meets the land and the tide comes and goes, there are little pools left behind in the rocks when the water pulls back. Tide pools, they're called, and they're some of the gentlest little worlds you'll ever find. When the tide goes out, soft and slow, it leaves these small, quiet pools sitting in the hollows of the rock, each one a tiny sea of its own. And in every little pool, there's a whole small world going quietly about its business. Little colored anemones opening soft like flowers, small crabs moving slow and careful over the stones, tiny fish drifting in the calm, clear water, bright shells resting on the sandy bottom. Then, hours later, the tide comes creeping back in, gentle as ever, and fills those pools again, joining them back to the great wide sea until the next slow ebb. Twice a day, every day, the same soft rhythm, the water coming and going, the little pools filling and emptying, the tiny creatures riding it all out, calm and unbothered, in their small stony homes. It's been going on like that for ages and ages, this gentle daily coming and going, patient as the tides that make it. Picture one of those quiet tide pools now, still and clear in the soft evening light, the little creatures resting easy, the sea murmuring low somewhere close by, waiting to come home again. And when the last light finally leaves the sky and the stars come out thick and bright, if you're somewhere far from all the town lights, you might see a soft band of pale light stretching right across the whole sky. That's the Milky Way, and it's our own home. All the countless stars of our galaxy gathered together in one great slow spinning wheel, so many of them, and so far away that they blur together into that gentle glowing river of light. Every star you can see up there is a sun, some of them far bigger than our own, but they're so unimaginably distant that they've shrunk down to the softest little points of light, quiet and steady in the dark. And that whole enormous wheel is turning, slow beyond all imagining, carrying our little sun and our little earth around and around on a journey so long that a single loop takes hundreds of millions of years. We've never even come close to going all the way around, not once in all of human history. The wheel just turns too slowly, too grandly, too patiently for that. So there we are, you and I, resting quiet on this small blue world, drifting along on the slow arm of that great glowing wheel, wrapped up warm in the soft light of all those distant, gentle stars. Imagine that band of soft light across the sky now, the countless quiet stars, the whole slow turning of it, and you down here so small and safe and calm, held gently in the middle of it all. Somewhere out there tonight, high up in the cold thin air over the mountains, snow is falling in the dark, soft and slow and silent, settling gentle onto the high slopes where no one ever goes, and every single flake of it is different from every other, each one a tiny six-sided pattern all its own, formed slow and quiet up in the cold clouds as it drifted down. No two of them have ever been exactly the same, not in all the countless snows that have ever fallen on this old patient world. Every flake its own soft little design, falling once and settling down and melting away, never to be repeated. There's something lovely in that, something calm and quiet. All those endless different little flakes drifting down through the dark, each one unique and gentle, each one settling soft onto the growing white below, and they build up so slowly, layer on layer, hushing everything, softening every hard edge of the world, until the whole high country lies wrapped in deep, still white, quiet as anything under the winter sky. Picture all that soft snow falling now, slow and silent in the dark, each little flake drifting down in its own gentle time, settling quiet over the sleeping land, calm and cold and endlessly patient. And underneath all that quiet snow, way down deep where the cold can't reach, the ground holds onto its warmth. That's a gentle little secret about the earth that not many people stop to think about. Just a few steps down beneath your feet, the soil stays the same soft, steady temperature all year round, no matter what the weather's doing up above. The wildest winter storm can howl across the surface, and the summer sun can beat down hot and heavy. But down below it all, the earth just holds quiet and even, warm as a held breath. That's how so many little animals make it through the long, cold months. The ground itself keeps them, tucked away in their small, dark burrows, wrapped in that steady underground warmth, while the snow piles up above them. Picture that now. All those little sleeping creatures curled up safe below the frozen ground, the world above them white and still. And down there in the dark, it's soft and warm and calm. The old patient earth holding them gently through the winter, the way it's always done. And speaking of things that sleep away the cold, there are creatures on this world that go to sleep for whole seasons at a time. When the food grows scarce and the days turn short, the bear finds a quiet den, somewhere out of the wind, and settles down into a long, deep slumber that lasts for months and months. Its heart slows right down, its breathing goes soft and slow, and it simply rests there in the dark, patient and still, waiting out the whole long winter without ever really waking. And it isn't only bears. All across the world, when the cold comes, so many little lives slow themselves down and slip into that same deep rest. The frogs settle into the mud at the bottom of the ponds. The little dormice curl up tight and tiny in their nests. The turtles sink down slow beneath the still water. The whole living world seems to take a long, slow breath and hold it, waiting for the warmth to come round again. There's something so peaceful in that, isn't there? The thought of all those creatures resting deep and easy while the world turns cold and quiet. None of them worried, none of them hurried, just sleeping soft and slow until the spring comes back to wake them gently. And when it does come back, when the warmth finally seeps down into the ground again, one of the very first things to stir is the seed. A seed is such a small and patient thing. It can lie there in the dark soil for the longest time, waiting, holding everything it needs, curled up quiet inside itself. All the makings of a whole green plant folded away, small and still. Some seeds wait weeks, some wait years, and a few, if you can believe it, wait far longer than that. There are seeds that have slept in the cold, dry ground for hundreds and even thousands of years. And then, when at last the water and the warmth found them, they woke right up and grew, green and alive, as if no time had passed at all. Imagine that. Something so small and quiet, holding on to life so gently, waiting all that long time in the dark, patient beyond anything, and then softly beginning to grow when its moment finally comes. Every great tree you've ever stood beneath began as one of those little sleeping things, no bigger than a pebble, tucked down in the dark and waiting. Picture a seed now, deep in the soft, warm soil, slowly sending out its first pale root, unfurling in the quiet dark, unhurried, sure of its own slow time. And once a plant begins to grow, it does the most quietly wonderful thing, something so gentle you'd never know it was happening at all. It drinks in the light, all day long, in every leaf, on every plant, across the whole wide world. The soft green work goes on. The sunlight comes streaming down, and the leaves catch it and gather it in. And out of that light and a little water and the air itself, they make everything they need to live and grow. And here's the loveliest part of all. While they're doing it, they breathe out the very air that we breathe in. Every green and growing thing, from the tallest tree to the smallest blade of grass, is quietly giving off the fresh, clean air that fills our lungs. So the breath you're taking right now, soft and slow, came from the leaves, from the forests and the meadows and the great green tangles of the sea. We breathe out what the plants breathe in, and they breathe out what we breathe in, round and round. A gentle sharing that's been going on for millions and millions of years. Isn't that a soft and lovely thought to rest on? That every quiet breath you take tonight was made for you by some green and growing thing, somewhere out there under the same slow sky. And a great deal of that breath, more than half of all the fresh air in the world, doesn't come from the forests on the land at all. It comes from the sea. Out there in the wide, bright waters, drifting near the surface where the sunlight reaches, there float countless tiny green things, so small you could never see a single one of them, smaller than a speck of dust. They drift in their untold billions through the sunlit water, and each one, in its own tiny way, drinks in the light and breathes out that same clean air. Just like the leaves on the land, there are so unimaginably many of them that together they make more of the world's fresh air than all the forests put together. So the next time you stand by the sea and take a deep, slow breath of that cool salt air, know that the ocean really did make it for you. Out of all those tiny drifting green things, glowing soft and invisible in the sunlit water. Picture them now, floating gentle in the warm upper sea, turning the sunlight into breath. An endless quiet meadow spread out across the whole wide surface of the ocean, feeding the world its air without a sound. And where all that light and warmth is greatest, along the soft, warm middle of the earth, the world is at its busiest and greenest. And yet even there, everything moves at its own gentle pace. Down near the middle of our planet, the days and the nights stay very nearly the same length all the year round. There's no long, slow lean into winter, no gradual stretching out of the summer evenings, just a steady, even rhythm of light and dark. 12 soft hours of each, turning over and over, day after day, calm and unchanging. The sun comes up quick and gentle, climbs high overhead, and sets again just as soft. And the warm green world beneath it hums along at the same easy pace it always has. There's a kind of deep steadiness in that, a place on the earth where the days never grow long or short, where the light just comes and goes in the same quiet measure it always has, patient and even as a slow heartbeat. And out at the very ends of the earth, it's the opposite entirely. Up at the top of the world and down at the bottom, the light comes in great long slow sweeps that last for months at a time. There are places so far north and so far south that when summer comes, the sun simply never sets. It rolls low around the sky and dips down toward the edge of the world, but it never quite slips away, and the light just lingers on and on, soft and golden, all through what should be the night. Whole weeks go by up there with no darkness at all, just that endless gentle glow. And then when winter comes round, it's the other way. The sun sinks down below the edge and stays there, and the long soft twilight settles in for months, a deep blue hush of almost dark, lit only by the stars and the moon, and those slow ribbons of colored light drifting across the sky. Imagine a whole season of gentle twilight, quiet and blue and still, the snow lying soft under the starlight, the sun resting somewhere just out of sight, and the whole far country wrapped in that long, calm, dreaming dark. And through all of that, whether the sun is up or down, the great wide sky is always doing its quiet work of moving the water around the world. It's a slow and gentle circle that never ends. The sun warms the sea, and the tiniest bit of that water lifts up soft into the air, so light you'd never see it go. Up it drifts, higher and higher, until it gathers into the clouds, those great soft floating heaps we watched drift by earlier. And the winds carry those clouds along, slow and easy, over the land, until at last the water comes gently back down again as rain or as snow, feeding the rivers and the lakes and soaking down into the soil. And then the rivers carry it all slowly back to the sea, and the whole soft circle begins again. It's been turning like that since before there were ever eyes to watch it. The same water lifting and drifting and falling and flowing, round and round, patient as anything. The rain that taps on your window tonight may have been the sea a little while ago, or a cloud over the mountains, or a river winding down through some far green valley. It's all the same water, moving slow and gentle through the world, and it has been forever. Picture that soft, endless circle now, the water rising quiet from the warm sea, drifting high into the clouds, falling gentle back to the land, and winding its slow way home again, over and over, calm and unhurried. The great slow breathing of the whole wide world. And that very same water, the water in the rivers and the rain and the deep blue sea, is the very same water that has always been here, right from the beginning. Almost none of it ever leaves. It just keeps moving round and round that gentle circle. The same drops over and over, for billions of years. Which means, and this is one of the softest little thoughts of all, the water you drank today, the water that's in you right now, has been on a very long journey. Some of it may have floated as mist through an ancient forest long before there were any people at all. Some of it may have been locked away in a glacier for 100,000 quiet years, or fallen as snow on mountains that have long since worn away to gentle hills. It has been the ocean and the cloud and the river and the rain over and over, countless times. And now, for a little while, it's part of you, and one day, it'll move along again, off on the next slow turn of that endless circle. There's something so peaceful in feeling yourself as just a small, soft part of something so old and so gentle and so patient. Rest easy in that thought tonight. You're made of the same slow water that has been drifting through this beautiful world since the very start, and it holds you soft and easy, the way it's always held everything. And here's another gentle thought to rest with, still about that same slow water, but this time about the deep cold ice at the very ends of the world. Way down at the bottom of the planet, there's a land so covered in ice that it holds most of the fresh water there is. Great sheets of it, thicker than you could ever imagine, lying quiet and heavy over the stone beneath, gathered there flake by flake over hundreds of thousands of years. And in some of that ice, if you were to drill down slow and careful, you'd find tiny bubbles of air trapped deep inside. Little pockets of sky from long, long ago, breathed by the world tens of thousands of years before you were born, held soft and still all this time. Each one is like a tiny sleeping memory of an old, old day. Picture all that quiet ice tonight, lying calm and blue and endless under the soft polar sky, keeping its little bubbles of ancient air safe and still, the way it always has. And down there, in that same cold, at the very bottom of the world, live the penguins, waddling soft and patient across the ice. When the long dark winter settles in and the cold grows deep, the fathers gather together in great huddles, thousands of them pressed close and warm, each one taking a gentle turn on the cold outer edge and then shuffling slowly back into the cozy middle, so that every bird gets a share of the warmth. All night long, all through the coldest months, they lean on one another like that, turning slow and patient in the dark, keeping each other warm until the light comes back. There's something so tender in that, isn't there? All those small round bodies leaning together against the cold, sharing what little heat they have. no one left out in the cold for long. Rest easy, thinking of that quiet, kindly huddle tonight. All of them warm together under the winter stars. Now let me take you somewhere warmer for a while. Somewhere the Earth's own gentle heat rises up soft from deep below, in certain quiet corners of the world, where the hot heart of the planet lies a little closer to the surface. The water that soaks down into the ground comes back up again warm, sometimes just pleasantly warm, sometimes steaming soft into the cool morning air. There are pools out there, tucked among the mountains and the forests, where the water rises up gentle and warm and clear, and animals come from all around to soak in them when the snow lies deep outside. Imagine that for a moment, a quiet pool steaming softly in the middle of a snowy wood, the warmth rising up out of the deep earth all on its own, and some sleepy creature settling down into it, easy and content, letting all that gentle warmth soak right through. The earth makes its own soft heat, way down deep, and here and there, it lets a little of it up to the surface, warm and kind, like a hand held out to take the chill off the cold. And in some of those warm places, the water does something even lovelier still. It rises up slow through the stone, carrying the tiniest bit of dissolved rock along with it. And when it reaches the air and cools, it leaves that little bit of stone behind, and does it again and again, drop after drop, year after year, until over the long, slow ages, it builds great soft terraces of pale stone, smooth and rounded, like frozen waterfalls that never move. Whole hillsides shaped patient by nothing more than warm water and time. Each terrace holding its own still pool, catching the light soft and pale. Nobody builds them, and nobody rushes them. The water just keeps rising and cooling, and leaving its little gift of stone behind, quiet and unhurried, for thousands and thousands of years. Picture those pale, soft terraces now, glowing gentle in the low evening light, shaped slow and patient by the warm water that has been trickling over them since long before anyone ever came to see. Here's another one of my favorite quiet wonders, and it's about the deep, still caves down under the hills, the ones where no daylight ever reaches. In some of those dark and silent rooms of stone, the water drips down slow from the ceiling, one drop at a time, and each drop leaves behind the tiniest speck of stone, just like those warm terraces do. Over the ages, drop by drop, those specks build downward into long stone spikes hanging from the roof, and build upward into gentle mounds rising from the floor, reaching slowly toward each other across the dark. It can take 100 years for one of them to grow the width of a fingernail, 100 years for something so small. And yet, given enough of that slow, patient time, the ones hanging down and the ones rising up finally meet in the middle and join together into great smooth columns of stone, holding up the dark like the pillars of some quiet hidden hall no one ever walks through. All of it built by nothing more than water and patience, drip by drip, in the deep and peaceful dark. Let that slowness settle over you tonight. 100 years for a fingernail's width of stone, and the caves have all the time in the world. Let me tell you now about the tortoises, the great gentle old ones that live out on certain warm and far-off islands. These are among the longest living creatures on the whole planet. Some of them go on living for well over 100 years, and a few have reached almost 200. Think of that. A creature alive today, that was already old when your great-grandparents were young, plodding slow and easy across the same warm grass it's crossed for a lifetime and more. They move without any hurry at all, munching soft on the leaves and the grasses, resting in the shade through the heat of the day, carrying their whole home on their backs wherever they go. Nothing rushes them. Nothing worries them. They've learned, in their long, slow way, that there's no need to hurry through a life when you've got so very much of it. There's a deep calm in a creature like that, a settledness, and it's a lovely thing to hold on to as you drift off. The image of that great old tortoise, unbothered and unhurried, taking each gentle step in its own good time, with all the years in the world still spread out easy before it. And far out over the warm seas swim the sea turtles, cousins to those old land tortoises, gliding soft and slow through the blue with those great gentle strokes of their flippers. When a mother sea turtle is ready to lay her eggs, she swims back across whole oceans, sometimes thousands of miles, to return to the very same quiet beach where she herself was born long ago. Nobody quite knows how she finds her way across all that open water, back to that one soft stretch of sand. But she does, year after year, guided by something deep and quiet inside her that we can only wonder at. And when the little ones hatch, they wait for the cool of the night, and then they make their small, slow way down the sand to the water for the very first time, and swim off into the wide, dark sea to begin the whole long, gentle journey all over again. Picture that quiet beach under the moon tonight, the soft hush of the waves, and the little turtles slipping one by one into the warm, dark water, carried off gentle on the very same currents their mothers rode before them. Here's a soft one about the sky, about those tiny lights we call the stars and the way they seem to shimmer. Have you ever noticed how a star will twinkle, flickering ever so slightly, while the planets shine steady and calm? It isn't the star itself doing that at all. The star is shining perfectly steady, all those unthinkable miles away. It's just our own gentle air, the great soft ocean of atmosphere above us, moving and stirring slow, bending that faraway light this way and that as it passes through. So the twinkle you see is really the star's light dancing softly through our own quiet air, right down to your eyes. It's a little conversation, in a way, between the far-off star and the breathing sky just above you. Next time you're out under the night and you see the stars all shimmering soft, you'll know it's the gentle stirring of our own air, cradling that ancient light on the very last little step of its long, long journey to you. And sometimes, if you watch the night sky long enough, you'll see a quick, soft streak of light slip across it and vanish. What people call a shooting star. Though it isn't a star at all, it's really just a tiny speck of dust or stone, most of them no bigger than a grain of sand, drifting through the dark until it wanders into our air and warms up bright for one brief, gentle moment. The earth passes through little drifts of that dust as it travels its great slow circle round the sun. And on certain quiet nights of the year, you can lie back and watch them come, one soft streak after another, silent and unhurried, high up in the dark. There's no sound to them, no rush, just those little quiet flashes, here and gone, like the sky is settling itself for the night. Imagine lying out on the soft grass tonight, warm and easy, watching those gentle streaks drift silent across the stars, each one a tiny traveler that journeyed a long, long way just to say a brief, quiet hello before it's gone. Let me bring you back down to earth now, back down to something small and close and lovely. The humble honey that the bees make from all that flower sweetness we talked about before. Here's a gentle little wonder about it. Honey, if it's sealed up and kept dry, never really spoils. Not in a year, not in 100 years, not in 1,000. People have found old jars of honey, sealed away for thousands and thousands of years, and it was still perfectly good, still golden, still sweet. Something about the way the bees make it keeps it safe and whole across all that time, patient and unchanging in the dark. Isn't that a soft thing to think about? All that quiet summer sweetness, all that gathered sunshine and flower and warmth, held safe and golden for longer than we can really imagine. The bees drift from bloom to bloom on a warm afternoon, gathering their little bits of sweetness, and what they make will keep long, long after that summer day is gone. Rest easy with that gentle thought that some sweet things last and last, quiet and golden, patient as the honey in the comb, and out in the wide green meadows and along the soft edges of the woods, there grow the dandelions, and you know how they go. First that bright little sun of yellow, and then, when their time comes, they turn to a soft round puff of silvery seeds, each one carried on its own tiny bit of downy fluff. And then the gentle wind comes along and lifts them, and off they drift, hundreds of them, floating easy through the warm air, each little seed sailing off on the breeze to find some new patch of soft earth to settle into. They can travel a long way like that, riding the slow wind for miles, drifting light and unhurried over the fields and the hedges and the quiet lanes, until at last they come gently down to rest and wait for the spring. Picture that for a moment. A whole meadow of those soft silver puffs, and a warm, slow breeze coming through, lifting them all up at once into the golden evening light. 1,000 tiny travelers drifting off soft and silent to begin again somewhere new. There's such an easy gentleness in it, in the way the plant just lets its little seeds go, trusting them soft to the wind and the wide world. And think, too, of all the little creatures settling down to their own rest right now, all across the quiet world, each in its own soft way. High in the trees, the small birds tuck their heads back under a wing, their tiny feet locked gentle round the branch so they won't fall even in the deepest sleep. That's a quiet little gift their bodies give them, that easy hold that keeps them safe all night without a single thought. Down in the meadow, the rabbits are curled soft in their warm burrows under the ground. The deer are lying still and easy in the long grass. The fish are drifting slow and quiet in the calm, dark water. And the great slow snails have pulled themselves gently into their shells. All over the world, every kind of creature has its own soft way of resting, its own quiet corner, and its own gentle habits. And right now, all across the turning earth, they're all settling down into the dark, just like you are. You're part of that great quiet settling tonight, one small, warm creature among countless others, all of you letting the day go, all of you easing down soft into the peaceful dark together, held safe on the same old patient world. And think for a little while about the clouds that drift so high up. They're made all of ice, thin and feathery and pale, stretched out soft across the very top of the sky. They're so far up, miles and miles above the ground, higher than the tallest mountain, higher than the birds could ever fly, that the air up there is bitter cold all the time, even on the warmest summer day down below. And so those clouds aren't made of little drops of water at all, but of tiny crystals of ice, drifting slow on the high, thin winds. They're the wispy ones, the ones that look like someone brushed them across the blue with a soft feather. And they catch the light in a gentle way, glowing pale and quiet up there where nothing ever hurries. When you see them stretched out in long, soft streaks on a clear afternoon, you're looking at ice, floating patient and unbothered, so high above all the busy world that not a sound ever reaches it. Isn't that a soft thing to hold in your mind? A whole slow river of ice crystals, drifting silent across the top of the sky, catching the last of the golden light. And down here, closer to the warm ground, let me tell you about the little rivers of air that move so gently through the world, the soft breezes that come and go. You know how sometimes, near the end of a warm day, a cool little wind comes drifting up off the water and moves soft across the land. There's a quiet reason for that, and it's a gentle one. All through the day, the land warms up faster than the sea, and the warm air over the land rises up slow and easy, and the cooler air from over the water comes drifting in soft to take its place. And then when night falls and everything cools, the whole thing turns around again, gentle and unhurried, the air breathing in one direction by day and the other by night, back and forth, like the slow, easy breathing of the whole wide shore. The fishermen have known about it forever. That soft, dependable breeze, coming in off the sea in the afternoon and drifting back out again after dark. It's just the world settling its warmth about, moving the air around in its own slow, patient way. And it's been doing it every single day for longer than anyone could ever count. And out in the wide open grasslands, the great soft plains that roll on for miles and miles under the enormous sky, the grass grows tall and golden, and it moves in the wind like water. If you've ever stood at the edge of a great field of tall grass on a breezy day, you know the sight. The whole field rippling and swaying, long waves running across it, silver and gold, as the wind moves through, and it looks for all the world like the surface of a slow green sea. These grasslands cover a great deal of the earth, more than you might think. Wide, gentle stretches of country where the land lies flat and open, and the grass just goes on and on to the far horizon. And the grass is a patient, quiet sort of plant. It grows from down low near the ground, so it doesn't mind the wind bending it over. It just springs back up soft and carries on. All through the warm months, it grows and sways and whispers. That endless soft sound of the wind moving through a million blades of grass. One of the gentlest sounds there is. Picture that for a moment as you lie there. A great golden plain under a wide evening sky. The grass rippling slow in the warm wind. The light going soft and low. And that quiet, endless whisper drifting on and on. And here's another gentle thing. Something about the very ground far beneath the deepest part of the sea, down at the bottom of the ocean, in the deep dark quiet where the water is cold and still, there's soft mud that has been settling for millions and millions of years, drifting down slow from the world above, a fine, gentle rain of tiny specks that never stops. Little by little, grain by grain, it settles onto the sea floor, soft as dust, falling in an empty room. building up ever so slowly into deep beds of the smoothest mud you could ever imagine. And it happens so slowly, so very slowly, that in a whole long lifetime, the layer might grow only the thickness of a coin. Down there in that deep, still dark, nothing hurries at all. The little bits drift down soft and silent through the black water and come to rest on the bottom, layer upon layer upon layer. And they hold in them the long, quiet story of the sea, going back further than we can really picture. There's something so restful in that thought. That slow, soft settling going on right now, far below the waves, patient and unhurried, laying down the years one gentle grain at a time in the deep and peaceful dark. And let me tell you now about the little creatures that live their whole lives in the soil right under our feet. The humble earthworms, moving slow and quiet through the dark ground. All night long, while the world above is sleeping, they're down there working away in their gentle, patient way, drawing bits of leaf and softness down into the earth, moving through the soil and loosening it, letting the air and the water soak in soft and easy. They don't rush, they don't fret. They just go about their slow, quiet work in the dark, turning the earth over gently, making it soft and rich and good for everything that grows. A single little garden can hold more of them than you'd ever guess, thousands upon thousands, all of them working away silent in the dark. And between them all, they turn over a great deal of soil in a year, more than you'd think such small, soft things could ever manage. Every good garden, every green field, every soft patch of earth where the flowers come up in spring, they all owe a quiet thank you to those gentle little workers moving slow beneath the ground. Isn't that a soft thought? All that quiet, unseen tending going on down in the dark earth while you rest. And think now about the salt flats, those great wide stretches of the flattest, whitest land anywhere on earth. Long, long ago, some of these places were shallow seas or quiet lakes. And over the slow ages, the water dried away gentle under the sun. And what it left behind was salt. Great smooth sheets of it, mile after mile, flat as still water and white as fresh snow, stretching out to the far edge of the world. They're some of the flattest places there are, so flat and so smooth that when a thin skin of rainwater settles over them, the whole vast plain turns into a perfect mirror, and the sky comes down to meet the ground, and you can't tell where one ends and the other begins. Stand out there on a still day, and it's the quietest, emptiest, most peaceful place you could imagine. Just the wide white flat and the wide blue sky, and the soft line of the horizon far, far away, and hardly a sound anywhere. It's the kind of stillness that settles right into you. That great open hush, nothing moving, nothing hurrying, just the smooth, pale ground and the enormous, quiet sky, holding each other soft and steady all the way to the end of sight. And here's a gentle little thing about the moon again, something soft and slow. You know how the moon always shows us the very same face, the same soft pattern of pale light and gentle shadow, night after night after night. It's been turned that way toward us for a very, very long time. So long that we've only ever seen the one side of it from down here. And the reason is such a patient one. Over the long, slow ages, the gentle pull between the earth and the moon settled the moon into just the right easy turn, so that it rolls around exactly once for every trip it makes around us, and it keeps that same quiet face toward home the whole way round. So the same soft moon your grandparents looked up at, and their grandparents before them, and everyone who has ever lived, all the way back. It's the very same face, the same gentle glow, the same soft shadows that you can see out your window tonight. There's something warm in that, isn't there? A kind of steady old faithfulness in the way it keeps turning its familiar face toward us, patient and unchanging, night after night, all down the long years. And let me tell you about the great slow rivers of the sky that the birds ride when they travel, the soft high winds that blow always in the same gentle direction, way up above the clouds. Up there, higher than the weather, there are steady streams of moving air that flow around the whole planet, patient and unhurried, always drifting the same way. And the birds on their long journeys, and the little seeds and the drifting things, they find those gentle streams and let them help them along, riding easy on the moving air the way a leaf rides a slow current down a stream. It's a soft kind of help the world gives them, those steady rivers up in the high sky, always flowing, always there, carrying the travelers gentle on their way. Nothing about it hurries. The air just moves in its long, slow loops around the turning earth, the way it always has, the way it always will. And everything that travels the sky leans into it soft and lets it carry them a little of the way home. And think for a moment about the quietest, deepest caves, the ones that go so far down into the dark that no sound from the world above ever reaches them at all. Down there, it's not just dark. It's the deepest kind of still, a silence so complete and so soft that it seems to have a gentleness all its own. The air down there hardly ever moves. The temperature stays just the same all year round, never warmer in summer, never colder in winter. Just a steady, cool hush that never changes. Water drips somewhere far off, slow and patient, one soft drop at a time, and the sound of it carries gentle through the dark. And that's very nearly the only sound there is. Some of those deep, quiet rooms have been sitting there in the still dark for longer than there have been people to wonder about them, holding their soft silence, keeping their steady cool, waiting patient in the deep of the earth. There's a peace down there that's hard to even imagine from up here in the busy world. A great old stillness, soft and complete and unbothered, holding steady in the dark far below the roots and the rivers and the rolling hills. And out on the wide sea, far from any land, there are little floating islands of green that drift slow on the surface of the water. Great gentle mats of seaweed, gathered soft together by the slow turning currents, riding the swell mile after mile. And a whole little world lives in them as they drift. Tiny fish and small soft crabs and little creatures no bigger than your fingernail, all of them sheltering in that floating green, carried along easy on the wide open sea. The currents gather the weed together gentle in the calm middle of the ocean, where the water turns slow in a great patient circle, and there it drifts and gathers and drifts some more. A soft green refuge floating far out on the deep blue, rocking gentle on the slow swell. Picture that for a moment before you drift off. A soft green island of drifting weed, far out on the calm sea under the evening sky, rising and falling gentle with each slow wave, carrying its little sleeping travelers on and on across the quiet water, in no hurry at all to get anywhere, just drifting easy wherever the patient sea decides to take it. And here's one last soft thing to rest your mind on tonight. All the water that has ever been on this old earth is still here. Every drop of it, moving round and round in that slow, gentle circle we talked about before. The rain that falls tonight has fallen countless times before, in countless soft showers, all down the long ages. It has been in the rivers and the seas. It has drifted as clouds across ancient skies. It has lain as snow on mountains that have long since worn away. The very same water, round and round, patient and unending, for billions of years. So the soft rain on your window, the still water in the quiet lake, the dew that gathers on the grass while you sleep, it's all old, older than the mountains, older than we can really hold in our minds. And it just keeps going gently round and round the turning world, never lost, never used up, always moving soft and slow through the seas and the skies and the deep green woods, patient as everything else on this old and gentle earth. And here's another soft thing to let your mind wander over as you lie there in the quiet. Far out in the middle of the great oceans, where the water is deep and blue, and no land breaks the surface for 1,000 miles in any direction, the sea is warm right at the top, warmed gentle by the sun day after day, and down below that warm skin of water, deeper and deeper, it grows slowly cooler and cooler still, until far down in the dark, it's cold and steady and calm, the way it's been for longer than we can really imagine. So the whole ocean is layered, soft and quiet, warm above and cool below, and the two hardly ever mix. The little fish that live up near the light spend their whole lives in that gentle warmth, rising and falling with the slow swell. And they never once feel the cold hush that waits, patient, in the deep beneath them. It's a peaceful thing to think about, isn't it? That great blue body of water, resting in its own soft layers, warm and cool, light and dark, all of it holding steady and calm through the long turning of the years. And while you're drifting there, let me tell you about the gentle old business of the coral sand on the far tropical shores. You know those beaches where the sand is soft and pale, almost white, so fine it slips through your fingers like flour? A good deal of that sand was made by a small bright fish that lives out on the reef, nibbling gentle at the coral all day long. It takes in the hard little bits of stony coral as it feeds, and slowly, patiently, it turns them into the softest, finest white sand, and lets it settle down onto the seabed below. And over the long, slow years, all that fine, pale sand drifts in toward the shore, gathered gentle by the tides, until it builds those beautiful, quiet beaches where the palm trees lean and the warm water laps so soft against the land. So the very sand you might one day rest your feet on some warm and far-off shore, was made drop by drop, grain by grain, by a small, bright fish going patiently about its day out on the reef. There's something lovely in that, I think. The way the whole gentle world is always quietly making itself, one soft, small piece at a time. Now let your thoughts drift up again, up off the warm sand and out over the wide sea, up into the soft evening air, where the clouds are gathering slow. High up there, higher than most of the clouds, there's a special kind of cloud that forms only in the coldest, thinnest air, so high up that it catches the last of the sunlight long after the ground below has gone dark. And when it does, it glows the gentlest silver blue, shining soft and quiet up there in the deep dusk, long after the sun has slipped away below the edge of the world. They call them night-shining clouds, and they drift there in the high, cold dark, pale and luminous and calm, so far above the busy world that nothing ever troubles them at all. Picture that for a moment as you settle deeper into the warm, a wisp of silver cloud, glowing gentle at the very top of the sky, drifting slow and patient through the last soft light of a day that's already gone to sleep down below. And here's a quiet little thing about the way the land itself remembers. In some places, if you were to walk out across the smooth, bare rock, you'd find the marks of old ripples pressed right into the stone. The very same ripples that the water once made in the soft mud of an ancient shore, back before there were any people at all, back before almost anything you could name. The water rippled the mud, gentle, the way it still ripples the sand at the edge of any quiet lake today. And then over the slow ages that mud hardened into stone and kept the shape of those ripples, holding them safe and still for millions upon millions of years. So you can lay your hand on the rock and feel the memory of a gentle little wave that lapped some quiet shore before the mountains were even dreamed of. The earth keeps these soft old records everywhere, tucked away in the stone, patient and unhurried, waiting quiet for someone to come along and notice them. Let me tell you now about the gentle giants that drift through the warm seas, the great slow rays that glide along with their wide wings spread out soft in the blue. They move so easy through the water, hardly seeming to work at all, just tilting those broad, gentle wings and soaring through the sea the way a bird soars through the air on a still summer day. They mean no harm to anyone, these great soft creatures. They only drift along with their mouths open wide, taking in the tiniest specks of life from the water as they go, sailing slow and peaceful through the warm blue currents. Some of them grow to be as wide across as a small room, and yet they move so gentle, so quiet, that you'd hardly know they were there at all. Just a great soft shadow gliding along beneath the surface, calm and unhurried, going wherever the warm water leads. Imagine that as you lie there in the dark, one of those great gentle wings tilting slow through the deep blue, carrying its owner easy through the endless warm sea, in no hurry in all the world. And here's something soft to think about when it comes to the rain and the rivers and the good green land. High up in the mountains, where the air is thin and cool, the first small trickles of water gather together out of the melting snow, so small at first that you could step right across them without even noticing. And those tiny trickles run downhill, gentle, and they meet other tiny trickles. And together they make a little stream, and the little streams meet and make a bigger one, and on it goes, all of them joining together soft and patient as they wind their way down toward the low country, until at last, far below, all those little mountain waters have gathered into one great slow river, wide and calm, moving easy across the land toward the distant sea. Every great river that ever was began that way, as the smallest thread of melting snow up in the high, quiet places, and it found its way down by gathering gently with all the others, taking its time, following the soft, low path that the land laid out for it. There's a patience in that I always find so restful. The way the water never hurries, never forces anything, just follows the gentle downhill way, joining and gathering and flowing on, sure and slow, all the way to the sea. Now let your mind settle on the quiet forest again, on the soft floor of the woods, where the light comes down green and gentle through the leaves. Down there among the fallen leaves and the old soft logs, there are mushrooms of every quiet kind, pushing up slow and patient out of the rich dark earth. And most of the mushroom isn't the little cap you see at all. The greatest part of it lives hidden away beneath the ground, a soft web of fine pale threads spreading out gentle through the soil in every direction, quietly connecting the roots of the trees to one another, passing along little bits of nourishment from here to there, so the whole forest is joined together underneath, soft and secret, by these gentle threads running through the dark earth. And the trees share with one another through them, the strong ones helping the weak ones, all of it happening slow and quiet and unseen beneath the peaceful floor of the woods. It's a lovely thought to rest your mind on, that a forest isn't really a crowd of separate trees at all, but one great gentle green thing, all joined together soft and hidden below the ground, looking after itself through the long, slow years. And here's one more quiet wonder from far out on the sea. On certain warm, still nights, in certain quiet bays, the water itself begins to glow, a soft blue light that shimmers and swirls wherever anything moves through the sea. A gentle wave curling toward the shore lights up soft blue all along its edge. A fish darting through the shallows leaves a little trail of glowing light behind it. Even the slow dip of an oar sets the whole surface shining pale and blue in the dark. It's the tiniest living things in the water that make that light, drifting there in their countless millions, each one glowing gentle when the water stirs around it. And so on those still warm nights, the whole bay seems to shimmer and breathe with soft blue light, quiet and dreamlike, rising and falling gentle with every slow ripple. Imagine standing at the edge of that glowing water in the warm dark, watching the soft light swirl and settle with each gentle movement of the sea. One of the quietest, loveliest little wonders this old world has to offer, tucked away in the calm dark bays where the warm water rests. Let me tell you too about the way the whole sky slowly turns above us through the night. If you were to lie out under the open stars and watch them long enough, patient and still, you'd see them drifting ever so slowly across the sky, all of them turning gentle together around one steady point up in the north. There's a single quiet star up there that hardly moves at all, night after night, holding its place while all the others wheel around it slow. And for the longest time, travelers and sailors have looked to that steady star to find their way in the dark. It just sits there, calm and patient, giving out its soft, steady light, while the great slow wheel of all the other stars turns gentle around it through the long hours of the night. And that turning isn't the stars moving at all, really. It's us, the whole earth turning quiet beneath them, carrying us all gentle through the dark toward the morning. So even the stars overhead are part of that same slow, steady turning we've been resting in all night. The great calm wheeling of the sky, patient and unhurried, going round and round the way it always has. And here's a soft, small thing about the creatures of the night, the quiet ones that come out gentle when the sun goes down. All through the dark, while so much of the world is sleeping, there are little animals moving soft and careful through the woods and the fields. The gentle owls drifting silent between the trees on wings so soft they make no sound at all. The little hedgehogs snuffling patient through the fallen leaves. The soft-footed foxes trotting quiet along the hedgerows under the stars. They go about their gentle business in the cool dark, unhurried and calm, each one knowing its own quiet way through the night. And the owl, especially, flies so soft that not a single feather makes a whisper. Its wings are edged with the gentlest down, so that it moves through the dark as quiet as a shadow, drifting between the trees without a sound. There's a whole soft world that wakes up gentle when ours goes to sleep, moving quiet through the moonlight while we rest. And it all carries on so calm and peaceful out there in the dark, needing nothing from us at all. Now let your thoughts come back down out of the starry sky and the dark, quiet woods, back to the soft, warm bed that's holding you so gentle right now. Think of how the whole great turning earth is holding you, the same way it holds the oceans and the mountains and the deep, slow rivers, the same way it holds the drifting clouds and the patient stone and the soft green forests spreading around the world. You're part of all of it, resting there in the dark, held gentle by the same quiet planet that holds everything else, turning slow and steady beneath you, carrying you soft and safe through the long, calm hours of the night. There's nothing at all you need to do, nowhere you need to be, nothing to hold on to or worry over or figure out. The earth has been turning gentle for billions of years, and it will keep on turning gentle long after this quiet night has passed. And all you have to do is rest here in the soft dark and let it carry you, the way it carries the seas and the stones and the sleeping woods, round and round through the patient turning dark toward the soft gray light of morning. And here's a soft little thing about the light of the moon, the pale glow that comes drifting in through the window on a clear night. All that gentle silver light isn't the moon's own light at all. It's really the light of the sun, come all that long way across space to touch the moon's gray face, and then bounced back down soft and slow to reach us here in the dark. So even in the deep of the night, when the sun has long since slipped away below the world, a little of its warmth is still up there, laid gentle across the moon, and handed down to us in that quiet silver glow. It's the softest kind of light there is, dim and cool and kind, never bright enough to trouble your eyes, just enough to lay a pale path across the floor and rest easy on the wall. And that same soft light has been falling on sleeping fields and quiet rooftops and still dark water for as long as there have been such things at all, gentle and faithful, night after night after night. Let me tell you too about the little snowflakes, the ones that drift down so slow and quiet on a cold, still night. Every single one of them has 6 sides, always 6, no more and no less. And yet no 2 of them have ever been quite the same. Each tiny flake grows its own soft pattern as it falls, slow and patient through the cold air, spreading out into its own little 6-pointed shape. And then it settles down gentle among all the others, and no one ever sees it. And it doesn't mind at all. Think of that. All those countless flakes coming down through the dark, each one its own quiet little work of art, gathering soft and silent on the fields and the branches, building up that deep, hushed blanket of white while the whole world sleeps. There's something so peaceful in it. All that endless, gentle variety drifting down unnoticed in the dark, asking nothing, just settling quiet, layer upon soft layer, till morning. And here's a gentle one about the sound of things at night. and how sound carries so much further in the quiet dark than it ever does by day. On a still cold night, a sound can travel a long, long way. The far-off call of a bird, the soft ring of a distant bell, the quiet murmur of water somewhere off across the fields. It's because the cool night air lies close and still along the ground, and it carries the sound along gentle, low, and far, instead of letting it rise up and scatter the way the warm daytime air does. That's why the world can feel so wide and so open at night. Why a little sound from far away can come to you soft and clear across all that dark, as if the whole quiet countryside were leaning in close to whisper. And it's a peaceful thing, really, to lie here and know that even the faraway sounds are coming to you gentle now, softened and slowed by the cool, patient air of the night. Here's another soft little secret about the pearls that grow slow and quiet inside the shells of oysters, down in the calm, dark water. When a tiny grain of sand slips inside the shell, the little creature there doesn't fight it or fret over it. It simply begins, ever so slowly, to wrap it round with smooth, soft layers, one gentle coat at a time, over months and years, until that little rough grain has become something round and pale and lovely. It happens down there in the quiet dark, unhurried and unseen, the softness gathering slow around the roughness until all the roughness is gone. Nobody rushes it, nobody watches it. It just happens gentle over the long, slow years, deep in the still water where the light never reaches. And I always think there's something so calming in that, the way a small, hard trouble, given enough quiet time, can be wrapped round soft and slow until it turns to something smooth and gentle. Let me tell you, too, about the great old trees that drink the fog. Way out along certain cool, misty coasts, there are forests of the tallest trees in all the world. Trees so high their tops are lost up in the drifting gray. And up there, where the air is damp and soft, they gather the fog right out of the sky. The tiny drops settle on their high green needles and gather together and fall soft as a slow rain down through all the branches, watering the whole forest gentle from the top down, even when no rain has fallen for weeks. So these great quiet giants make their own soft weather up there in the mist, feeding themselves, patient from the fog that rolls in off the sea, standing calm and still through the long gray days, drinking the sky drop by gentle drop. And below them, the ground stays cool and damp and green, soft with fallen needles and slow-growing moss, hushed and dim and endlessly peaceful. And here's a small, quiet thing about the seeds that lie sleeping under the snow all through the winter. When the cold comes down and the white blanket settles over the fields, the little seeds don't die and they don't fret. They just wait, tucked down soft in the dark earth, resting patient through all the long frozen months. And that cold, believe it or not, is part of what they need. A long, quiet season of rest before they'll ever think of waking. So they lie there still and dreaming under the snow, gathering their patience, biding their gentle time, until at last the warmth comes seeping back down into the soil and softly tells them it's time. There's no hurry in them at all. They know the spring will come, the way it always has, and until it does, they simply rest in the dark, safe and unbothered, waiting soft and sure beneath the snow. Now, if you're still drifting here with me, just barely, I'll tell you that when this story quietly comes to its end, another one will begin on its own, soft and low, so you needn't lift a finger or open your eyes or think about a single thing. There's a whole gentle night of these waiting for you, one drifting easy into the next. So if you'd like to keep floating along, just let it carry on. Another calm voice, another slow, soft story, ready to keep you company through the dark. You don't have to do anything at all. Just let it come. And if these quiet nights have been kind to you, if this soft, slow way of drifting off has helped you find your rest, you might, whenever it suits you, let the little bell or the button know you'd like more of them. No rush, no need to stir now, just whenever you happen to think of it in the gentle daylight. It's a small, quiet way to make sure these calm nights find their way back to you again. So there's always another soft story waiting whenever you need somewhere gentle to lay your thoughts down. But that's all for the waking world, and there's nothing to tend to now. Now there's only the rest. Let me leave you with one last soft little thing about the earth, gentle as I can make it. All around this old turning planet, right now, in the deep of the night, there are people just like you, lying quiet in the dark, letting the day go, drifting slow towards sleep. And beyond them, the fields lie still under the stars. And beyond the fields, the dark woods stand patient and quiet. And beyond the woods, the great slow oceans rise and fall, breathing easy in the dark. And the mountains stand where they've always stood, and the rivers wind soft toward the sea, and the snow settles gentle on the high, still slopes, and the whole great world turns slow and quiet beneath the wheeling stars, carrying all of it along, carrying you along, easy and safe through the long, calm hours. There is nothing left for you to do now, nothing at all. No thought you need to finish, no worry you need to hold, nothing to remember, and nothing to keep. The earth is holding you, the way it holds the seas and the stones and the sleeping woods, and it asks nothing of you but to rest. Let your thoughts grow soft and slow and far away, like the last small ripples spreading out across a still dark pond, fading gentle into the calm until the water lies smooth and quiet again. Let your breathing go easy now, slow and soft, in and out. The same slow rhythm as the tides, the same patient turning as the great quiet world beneath you. There's nowhere to be but here, nothing to do but rest. No time at all but this soft, dark hour that's holding you so gentle. The stars are turning slow overhead, and the world is turning slow beneath you. And it will keep on turning gentle all through the night while you sleep, carrying you soft and safe toward the pale gray light of morning. You don't have to wait for it. You don't have to watch for it. It will come on its own, quiet and sure, the way it always has, the way it always will. So let go now, all the way, down into the soft, warm dark. Let the bed hold you. Let the earth hold you. Let the whole slow, gentle night hold you close. Rest easy. Rest deep. There's nothing but quiet ahead of you now. Quiet and soft and calm, stretching on gentle till morning. Sleep well. Sleep long and deep and easy, held safe by this old and patient world, turning slow and quiet beneath the stars. Good night.